Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about what it is that you are doing on YouTube, go ahead and put those questions in the form. I actually just posted the form in the chat right here, but go ahead and get them in the in that form. If it's through the chat, if it's in the description, whatever, get your questions in there so that we can get them answered on the stream today. For the U.S. folks, I just want to say happy, belated Thanksgiving to you guys. Hope that you had a great holiday. Hope that you got all, stuffed full of delicious food for the holidays. So I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. And I also want to let you know that today's stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, the #1 tool for YouTube content creators. TubeBuddy has 90 different tools that will help you with your YouTube channel. A lot of people think that TubeBuddy is just a keyword explorer, but TubeBuddy is an entire suite of tools that you can use to help you on YouTube. You can try it for free at tubebuddy.com/Nimmin. And of course, I've got a link to that down in the description below. In addition to that, this stream is co-sponsored by StreamYard, which is the live streaming platform that I use to live stream this show every single Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And the reason that I use StreamYard is because it's just crazy easy, right? Like you don't have to configure everything and like build all these scenes and all this other craziness that goes on with live streaming sometimes, but you don't have to do all of that. Basically, they have all of that contained, and it just makes it really easy to be able to run a really smooth live stream show from anywhere, from any device, anything like that through StreamYard. But they do all the heavy lifting on the cloud, which means that my computer doesn't have to be strong to run the software or anything like that. It makes it really easy to bring in guests, add graphics to the screen. Like you can see that I have a graphic right over here right now. But you can try StreamYard for yourself at StreamYard.com. Of course, I've got a link to that down in the description as well. So I hope everybody had a fantastic holiday. I hope everybody had a fantastic week so far. I know that it's Black Friday still? No. We missed Black Friday. Black Friday is complete now. Now we are moving on to Cyber Monday, which is coming up Monday. So I want to let you know that I am doing a live stream on Monday for Cyber Monday deals. So if you are, just looking for digital related things, Monday is going to be the day for you because I'm going to basically do a live stream similar to this, except I'm going to be just letting you know throughout that stream, the different, things that are available for you as a content creator specifically for Cyber Monday. So make sure that you show up for that. That will be 9 a.m. Eastern on Monday, your time. So with all of that out of the way, super excited to be here today. I'll be honest with you, I was like 50-50 because I woke up today. I got like 4 hours of sleep because we woke up this morning and we did a charity thing for some kids here locally. And typically we go to bed late, but we had to be there early. So because of that, we didn't sleep that great. So earlier in the day, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stream tonight because I was already exhausted by noon. So I was like, yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to make it tonight. But anyway, took a nap, feel amazing. So super excited to be here talking with you today and sharing information about YouTube to help you with your YouTube channel and what it is that you're trying to do here. So if you are somebody that has content creators that follow you on Twitter or Instagram or wherever it is that you happen to post, feel free to share the stream right now so that we can get more content creators in here, hanging out and enjoying the show. And most importantly, learning how to thrive on YouTube, because that's really what this whole thing is about, is sharing information about how you can, grow a YouTube channel and best practices and, just the best routes to take for different things that you are trying to do on YouTube. So get this party started right out of the gate.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Sheep Plays, welcome to the Nimminati. When you get the chance, head over to nimminvip.com. That's going to redirect you to our members-only Facebook group. Once you get over there, make sure you fill out all the information on the way in because that's how I verify that you are a member. So the next one that we have here is Tinkerman Mick. Wrong button.
Super Chat. Welcome.
Yeah, we just went all over the place. All right. Tinkerman Mick, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciated as always. Hey, what's up, Shane? What's up, Shane? Hope that you're doing awesome, man. Nice to see you in here. Albie-tastic, nice to see you here as well. Hope that you are excited and pumped up today. Beanie Draws, what's going on? Mr. Camera Junkie, nice to see you in here as well. Martin, nice to see you hanging out also. Mike, Hybrid Steel, hope that you're doing fantastic, my man. Everybody, I hope that you're doing great. Hope that you are excited, getting ready to, Tom Nash, what's up, man? Hope that you're doing awesome. Aroma Talks, nice to see you in here too. Hope everybody's just fired up today to learn about YouTube and just getting excited about, just this whole thing. I am. So let's get into some questions then, right? Let's go ahead and just move this party forward. So the very first question here is from Marcus Presents, previously Marcus Sapala. And he always gets within like the first 2 or 3 questions. So nice work on that, Marcus. But he does communication tips. The goal of the channel is multiple streams of income. And the question is, hey, Nick, what are some great tips for making money from the Amazon Influencer Program? I've been using the Amazon Associates Affiliate Program for a year with great results, but I'm only now setting up the Influencer Program. Thank you for all your excellent tips and strategies. So when it comes to the Amazon Influencer Program, the very first thing that you want to think about there is that, one, they allow you to, hey, Cakes by Choppa, what's up, dude? Hope that you're doing fantastic. Chantel, hope that you are also doing great. But basically, when it comes to the Amazon Influencer Program, what people typically do with that is you'll set up, kind of like a storefront of sorts, and then you'll put together things that would be relevant to your audience. So basically, you would have like one thing that they could click into. Like in my case, if you go to my Amazon storefront, you'll see, where I have like my live streaming gear. I've got another one to where I think one just has like this monitor and some other things like that. But basically just kind of break things down based on what it is that either you talk about in a video and you can link directly to that. So let's say you have a video and you talk about, 4 different things that people can purchase in that video. Then you can create like a little version of the things that you recommend there. You can group those up and put them in one of your options for people to click on inside of your Amazon Influencer Program there. And within that, you can just send a direct link into that, or you can send them directly to your page, whichever one you figure out works best for you based on what it is that you're trying to bring attention on or bring attention to on your Amazon storefront. Another thing to make sure that you're thinking about as well, if you're doing any type of affiliate marketing, is if you're going to be using your Amazon storefront to talk about affiliate related products that you're going to then send people to Amazon to purchase, then in that particular case, just make sure that you're being mindful of the intent, so of the viewers. So what I mean by that is if you are making videos about like whatever, you're just making videos about whatever, and you mention things in your video. Yes, absolutely, you can sell stuff that way. Absolutely, people will buy things that way. But if you are being strategic and you're trying to use affiliate marketing, through Amazon or through anything else, if you're being strategic about it and you are trying to get as many sales as possible, then what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're getting your content in front of the right people that have the right intent when they come into that content. And what that means is if you're doing like a review video, the person that's watching a review video, really good chance they're considering buying that, or they're researching it. Maybe they'll buy it later, whatever. Maybe they'll buy it right now. Maybe you're that last video that they can watch, but they hop into YouTube search and they're like, hey, we'll just use camera gear since that's, we're all YouTubers here. So, let's say they're looking for, a particular camera, and then you have a video where they're, you're sharing that review on that camera. That's going to be a totally different experience or a totally different expectation for that viewer, or intention, I should say, for that particular viewer coming into that, because they're looking for a review on that particular camera, versus if you make a video that's just like, hey, top 10 cameras for YouTube content creators, right? There, it's just kind of like a general thing. Maybe you'll hit some wins, maybe you won't. But when you do it on the review side, then in that case, you are, kind of playing into the intent when people are looking for that, and you're kind of catching them in that buying process, right? So if you are doing anything as an affiliate, you want to make sure that you're keeping that sort of thing in mind as well. Let's see here. Hey, from Manila. Hey, I go to the Philippines before all this craziness started happening in the world. I go to the Philippines every now and then. Pretty awesome place. Absolutely love it. Let's see here. So as we keep on going through the list, Baking with Charlene, what's up? Hope that you're doing fantastic. Jay-Z Helps, what's up, man? Says, so your thoughts on me getting the Samsung G9 Ultra Wide, and in addition, using a 27-inch monitor that I have. I currently use 3 27-inch monitors. Smart purchase. Dude, if you get one of these, you don't need the other monitors. Like seriously, I'm a pretty big guy. Like I'm like 6'3". I'm a big guy. And this thing is, I wouldn't say it's my arm span, but I mean, if you go about 45 degrees from where I'm at, I mean, this thing just stretches across. It's fantastic. So, I mean, technically, yeah, you could definitely connect the 27-inch TV to that as well. But really, you probably won't need to. Like once you get this thing in your place, if you decide to get one, once you get this thing in there, you might be like, okay, yeah, I don't need that. But if you do, then in that case, you could mount it, on top or, a little bit off to the side or something like that. If you got a multi-mount, actually you wouldn't use a multi-mount. You would actually put this on your desk or use an arm, and then you would get another 27-inch that you would mount, on top or over to the side. But what I'm getting at here is that like this thing right here, because it is so wide, right? That's why I went into the thing about like the 45 degrees and, with like the span. You can see here in this shot, right? Like, I mean, it covers a lot of room. But one of the things that in my opinion would be annoying in terms of a setup with additional monitors with this particular monitor is if I had another monitor right here, then like I got to turn and look all the way over to here for this other monitor, right? So like, for example, like how this TV is here, like that's almost like I might as well just turn around and look at the TV if it's gonna, if it's gonna be all the way over here as well. So just, keep that in mind when it comes to it. But if you're gonna get one, definitely, try it out first before you add that additional monitor onto it. So let's see here. Do you think it's bad practice when a streamer titles his or her stream in English but speaks in a different language? Yes, I do. Because what you're doing there is you are basically playing into an audience that can't, or trying to get an audience to click on your content that doesn't understand what's happening in the video. So absolutely. Yeah, you want to avoid that if you can. So our next question here, and I'm going to pull this one from the forum, and today we're just going to be jumping back and forth. Like I'm going into the forum for most of these, but I'm also just going to be pulling them out of the chat. We're just going to be jumping back and forth, and I'm going to try to make things a little bit more concise here in this stream today, so that we can just crush through as many questions as we possibly can, so that you can hopefully get your question answered today. So the next question that we have here is from Channel Ron. Channel Ron says they do how-to content. Goal of the channel is to make money. Question: getting ready to go live next month. Should I use questions out of my comments to get started? I'm afraid that I may not have enough people on my live stream and it may get boring. Here's the thing. How many people here have live streamed to no viewers before? Or you've live streamed to just like a handful of viewers, like, like maybe like 5 people watching the stream or 2 people watching the stream. If that is you, just say me. I'm me too, right? Like when I was first starting my channel, my very first live stream that I ever did on my YouTube channel, I had 2 people come through it. And I was pumped. I was like, whoa, I didn't expect anybody to be here. This is great. What's going on? Like it was like an ordeal, right? Like super excited about it. But basically, when you are live streaming, if you have, no viewers, what you want to think of is, first off, you said, if you are live streaming that it may get boring if you don't have, a lot of people in there. So, of course, in the chat itself, if you don't have a lot of people in the chat, then the chat area would be boring. But you as the host can still be very engaging. You can still be entertaining. You can still share whatever information is that you're sharing. That's still an opportunity to uplift people, that are going to come through the stream or watch it on the replay. But the thing that you want to think about is if you're streaming to nobody, then the place where you're really going to get the most value out of that particular live stream for yourself is on the replay. So basically, once you do your live stream, then that live stream is going to live on YouTube as long as you don't unlist it or delete it. It's going to live on YouTube as a piece of video on-demand content. So because of that, make sure that if you're streaming to low or no viewers, that you are thinking of that replay. And what I mean by that is when your stream first starts, let people know exactly what it is that you're talking about in the stream. Let them know if you're a gamer. Let them know what it is that you're trying to accomplish in the stream, or whatever it is that you're after. Like, give them a reason to want to stay. And just saying like, hey, welcome to the stream, make sure you hang out for the whole stream because it's going to get really exciting. That's not enough, right? Be specific towards the people that you are actually reaching with your content and tell them exactly, hey, this is what we're going to be doing. And think about it from the perspective of, okay, if somebody comes into my stream and they have never experienced my content before, how can I structure this live stream and keep everything moving so that they can still get a great experience out of it? So in your particular case, if you do go ahead and start with questions, then I would either, one, just start, crushing through the questions, or two, I would also just, write out your own content or make some bullet points of some additional content that you're going to, add to it, so that, one, in the event that you don't get any questions, or two, if the questions just run out faster than you thought that they would, then in that particular case, you already have your own show that you're going to be doing regardless if you have questions or not, right? So make sure that you do that. So on the StreamYard channel, I have a video there. To where the entire live stream is talking about step by step, like, hey, these are the things that you need to do if you're streaming to no viewers. I really recommend that you watch that. It's on the StreamYard YouTube channel. So next question that we have here on our list is Little Crafty Nook. Hope that you're doing great. Says they do greet card making content. The goal is to build a community and help all levels of card makers. And the question, when setting up my end screen to show a video in a playlist, I get access to my videos just fine. I can search for them, but I can't seem to access all of my playlists. I get 20 thumbnails and no means of searching. I have no problem sharing them with my description box. Thanks for all your help. So one thing that you can do there is you can actually grab the URL and drop the URL there. So what that means is you would actually open up your YouTube channel, go find that playlist, grab the URL for that, and then drop it in that way instead of actually going through and having to click it. That should do the trick for you. Let's see here. So next up, I'm just doing a quick scan here. So C. Riviera says, let's see here, is YouTube Shorts a good way to start or not really? So if you are, this is a great question. So if you are wanting to do YouTube, right? And you are thinking to yourself like, hey, I want to do this whole thing. I don't really know where to start. I don't really know how to make, like long videos yet. I don't really know how to edit yet, anything like that. Then Shorts can be a great place for you to start because you can learn how to do all that stuff in 1 minute at a time instead of trying to figure out, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes at a time, right? So because of that, if Shorts is your entry into creating content, then absolutely go ahead and get started with that. And, in some cases, you might find yourself with a Shorts channel to where you're like, hey, all I'm doing is YouTube Shorts. And since I'm really good at YouTube Shorts, I'm getting a good response here, like Tinkerman Mick, for example, then in that case, maybe I'm also going to try TikTok because that's also vertical. So the idea is to look at it and say, okay, well, if I don't know what it is that I really want to do yet, then I just want to get started with something. And if that something is YouTube Shorts, then absolutely it's a great way to get started. Wet Blanket, that is a good channel name. Magic Flying Potato says, I've still not made a short. Yeah, I've experimented with the short form content. It's kind of fun because you get to take, your ideas and just kind of, force them down into like these little bite-sized pieces of content. It's pretty interesting, how they come together. And some people have, tons of success with YouTube Shorts. So next question that we have here, we're pulling this one from the forum, and then we are going to go back into the chat. This one's from Dingus Bringus. Dingus Bringus says that, let's see here. Dingus Bringus says that they've been on YouTube for a year or more. They do nerd news. And the goal of the channel is to have a large place on YouTube where nerds can come and not worry about toxicity. Love that. Question, I started doing streams last week and I noticed that literally every place in my analytics that shows views for those streams, the number is different. Is this normal? Yes, it is. So basically when you are live streaming, and you'll notice the same thing when you upload video content too. Like when you publish your video, then something that you'll notice is like, okay, like my creator studio showing one thing. If my video shows up in search, it's showing another view count. If I look on my homepage, it's going to show like a different view count. If I look inside of my analytics, it's going to show a different view count. So that's perfectly normal. Don't even worry about it. Everything, will end up, syncing up and all of that, and you'll be fine. Next question. Okay. Is it a good idea to combine shorts with long form content as I can't always upload weekly? A lot of people are having a lot of success with that. So I'm going to give you some pros and cons. So on the pro side is one, yes, that's absolutely a piece of content that you can put out. And that's a piece of content that, can pull people into your channel, things like that. So in that particular case, it's a win. Downside is that currently everything is intermingled inside of your analytics when it comes to like overall performance of the channel. And because of that, the shorts, when they start intermingling with that, they can complicate things when you're going in and you're looking at your analytics and you're trying to uncover content that's working, content that's not working. It's like if you're running experiments, you need to keep like really close track of everything it is that's happening on the channel due to those experiments that you're running. And then you start throwing shorts in the mix. Then in that particular case, you're going to have to do things like start grouping. Like, okay, these are all of these, long form videos, and then these are all the shorts, so that you can actually look at the data without the shorts included in it. So that's definitely a workaround in order to make that happen, but it's kind of a pain. So because of that, if you are, just take that as food for thought, right? So it's like, hey, that's fine. Like if you're like, hey, I don't care if everything's intermingled. I just want to make sure that I'm getting that content out so that, my viewers can just enjoy some additional content from me. Then in that case, give it a shot. But if you're like, hey, I want to make sure that, everything is clean in my stats, then in that case, you might want to consider a second channel as a shorts channel until they get everything, fully separated. But really at the end of the day, the very most important thing that you got to think about is if you're going to be putting shorts on the channel, how well do the shorts fit into the overall goals of the channel? If they are going to help you reach your goals faster based on whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to get more views or get more subscribers or get more revenue long-term, because of course, like monetizing those, you got to get creative. But if you're trying to generate more revenue long-term, or if you're trying to, just build your influence overall, whatever, then in that particular case, as long as the shorts fit into that, then you are good to go. But if you're like, you know what, I'm actually going to, as soon as my schedule allows or whatever, I'm going to just kind of lean really hard into just doing long form content. And that's kind of the long-term goal and what you want to be known as. Then in that particular case, then the shorts don't really serve you as much. Let's see here. Go ahead and ban this person. Okay. So, next up we've got Boogeyman says, do you think it's worth buying audio for like $500 to $1,000 or just edit better? So by buying audio, if you mean like you are going to buy a bunch of like music to just use in your videos, and you're going to like pay people to make that music and stuff. In that case, I would just get a subscription. Like I would go to like Epidemic Sound or something like that. You can pay like $15 a month and then you have access to their entire library. And with that, you actually connect your YouTube channel. So then you don't have to worry about like copyright strikes and things like that. That's what I currently use on my channel at this moment in time. So I would definitely make sure that that you look into resources like that before you go and spend $500 to $1,000 on audio. Now, if you are talking about like a microphone, then in that case, if the audio or if the new microphone is going to make your videos substantially better, like for example, the audio currently sucks, and if you get a good microphone, then it's going to make them a lot better. You don't have to go with a $500 or $1,000 microphone. You can go, you can get away with like $120 and walk away with a decent microphone with nice quality sounding audio, especially after it's processed. Okay, so let's go over to the forum here again. And we've got Style Setter in the house. What's up, Style Setter? Hope that you're doing awesome. I saw you in here earlier in the chat as well. Says they do gaming content. The goal is to make my hobby a job. And the question, I do gaming on YouTube, but I'm also into film and camera. So I'm thinking about making tech reviews, guides as well. Should I stick to one thing or make a second channel? I would make a second channel for that. And I'll explain why. So basically how YouTube works, and you can actually kind of see some of this stuff if you just kind of watch YouTube channels and just kind of see the content they're publishing, how it performs, things like that. So based on how YouTube works, they collect all this data on your YouTube channel. Basically, the people that decide to watch your videos, the people that don't decide to watch your videos, for the people that do decide to watch them, how are they interacting with your content? Are they liking it? Are they commenting on it? Are they watching your videos to the end? If they do they click into your content or your end screens and watch more videos? Do they go to your YouTube channel and look for even more content? Are they going into playlists and watching groups of content? Are they sharing it out? Are they adding it to their own playlist so they can watch it later? That kind of stuff. But basically, the more of those actions that people take, the better long-term that your channel ends up doing, because YouTube can better identify who is the right fit for your content. So based on those positive responses that they get. So the problem, if you're doing gaming content and you're like, hey, I'm going to start throwing some camera gear into this, is that you have this gaming content that's targeting gamers. And because of that, those gamers, if they respond positively to it and all of that, then YouTube will start to detect over time, if they're not already, that, hey, when this is shown in front of a person that consumes content like this on YouTube, gaming content specifically, people, will click on this at a fair rate. We'll just say competitive. They click on this at a competitive rate. They, overall enjoy the content at a competitive rate. Therefore, and this is where it gets important, therefore, but the system is going to find more people on the platform that have similar ways that they interact with YouTube as the people that are currently enjoying your content. And what happens is, as soon as you start making videos about cameras, then you throw a wrench in that whole thing, because the YouTube's like, hey, these people watch gaming content. These people watch gaming content on this particular game, those types of things. So it kind of helps their system predict, in better ways who might be a great fit for that. But then if you start, here's a gaming video, here's a video about cameras or filming, then in that particular case, you just throw a wrench into that, because then, they'll start testing some of that content against some of those gamers. They won't respond that great to it. Therefore, it's going to hurt your click-through rate and all that good stuff. And then it's going to end you up in a situation where you're going to be like, man, my channel's not going anywhere. Things aren't growing and all of that. So because of that, I definitely recommend that if you do have something that extreme that you do in terms of completely different audiences, gamers and people that are into cameras, that you separate it into multiple channels. Let's see here. As we keep on going through this list here, we are going to go into, hey, and just a heads up too, man, is if you are wanting to make your hobby a job, the very first thing that I want to recommend to you, and I mention this almost every live stream, the very first thing that I recommend is that you go ahead and start monetizing now in any way that you can. If it's through Buy Me a Coffee links, if it's through, a Patreon, if it's through merch, through like Spreadshop or something, if it's through, anything that you can put together, guides, things like that, that you could sell from your channel, for particular games, whatever, then in that particular case, like go ahead and start figuring that stuff out now. Because as your YouTube channel grows, what you ultimately want to happen is as you start having more and more videos performing well on the platform, then as more and more people are interacting with that stuff, that's more and more people that if you start monetizing now that are going to have awareness about whatever different ways that you monetize. So basically you create this huge, archive of content that is all leading into all of your different ways of monetization, so that over time, maybe if they miss it in one video, maybe, whatever, then in that particular case, not a big deal, because maybe you'll catch them in another video or something like that. So I would definitely start, digging into the monetization side. Awesome, Doug. See it. I would definitely start digging into the monetization side as fast as you can, because, if you're wanting to make this your job, then you have to, and you might be doing this already, but if you're going to make this your job, like you have to, just like if you were starting a new business, right? Like your YouTube channel is essentially kind of like a new business. So because of that, if you were starting a new business, you would write a business plan for it. You would figure out, all the different products that you were going to offer, the services that you were going to offer. You would figure out, the price points for the services, all that good stuff. And you would also, figure out exactly, what you need in terms of be able to, if you need an office, like all that good stuff. But basically you have to figure out all that stuff, right? And you have to figure out, okay, these are all the things that we're going to need to actually do the business, but how are we going to get our business in front of people? Are we going to use ads for it? Are we going to, are we going to go knock on people's doors? Like, how are we going to let people know about this? So the idea is that with your YouTube channel, with every single video that you publish, if you're spreading a little bit of awareness about at least one form of monetization to where people can support you that really dig your content, then in that case, as you are moving down the line, publishing more and more videos, then you have created the opportunity for yourself to be able to fully capitalize on the opportunities here on YouTube. So hopefully that makes sense. Zach Talks Pixel, what's up, my man? Hope that you are doing
Super Chat.
Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Says, good morning, Nick. Here, buy a coffee on me. Have a good one. Cheers. And happy belated. Well, actually, no. Yeah, because you're up there. So yeah. So never mind on that. But thank you for that. And hope that you are enjoying your weekend. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down this list, there's another one that came through here from Eckel.
Super Chat.
Hey Nick, recently I've had 10 million views stolen across YouTube and TikTok. Given that they give me little traffic compared to them, what should I do about it? Okay, so you say that you had views stolen across YouTube and TikTok. I don't understand your question here, Eckel. So I've had 10 plus million views stolen across YouTube and TikTok, given that they give me little traffic compared to them. What should I do about it? Yeah, I think I might understand what you're talking about. If you're talking about somebody taking your content, re-uploading that content to these different platforms, and then they are getting, great results from it. They're getting, tens of millions of views on that particular content, and it's your content. If it's just a direct download and a re-upload, then in that case, you can submit a DMCA. That's a Digital Millennium Copyright Act is what that stands for, but it's basically a takedown notice. So then you can actually force them to take that content down. If your YouTube channel, if you go into your creator studio, depending on, where you're at on your channel right now, you might see a copyright area. And if you see that copyright area in your creator studio, then in that case, you might be able to issue the takedown right inside of there. But you have to make sure that they're not using it in other ways in terms of like compilations or reactions or things like that, because then in that particular case, they might fall under fair use. And if they fall under fair use, then they are using it in a way that they could legally defend. And then therefore, if you do issue that takedown notice, then you are kind of doing that in a way that isn't compliant with those takedown notices. And then the problem can actually fall back on you in that situation. To be honest, I think the system's completely messed up when it comes to that sort of thing. It should be like, hey, did you make this or not? Do you have the rights to use it or not? Yes or no? And like, that should be it. However, that's not the case. So because of, legalities being the way that they are, you do, need to make sure that if you are going to submit takedowns for those, you have to make sure that they are not using them in a way that does fall under fair use. Let's see here. So as we keep on scrolling down this list, DIY Audio Guy, thanks for the super chat.
Super chat.
For affiliate income, making a little cash through affiliate links, but not driving a lot of traffic, not converting many sales. DIY Audio Guy. So if you are here, let me actually look at something really quick. Okay, so yeah, you are talking, let's see here, crossovers, home stereos, speakers. Okay, so you're doing audio like that. I was going to say, if you're doing like music audio, that one's pretty easy because then you can, sell like plugins and things like that as an affiliate. In your case, what I would do, you have 25,000 subscribers. I would try reaching out to like Crutchfield and Sweetwater and, places like that to see if you can do any type of sponsored content for them. I would also, when it comes to the content that you're putting on your YouTube channel, another thing that you want to think about, and I'm not sure if you were here for this earlier when the stream first started, but I was talking about the viewer intent. And, like when you're watching a video about, this makes more bass, and the topic here is, how does a port work, myths busted, then in that particular case, great informative video. But in terms of selling something from that video, the likelihood is going to be much lower because people are coming into that video, because they're curious about how a subwoofer works. So because of that, what you have to think about is you need to start doing things like you're doing with your Black Friday deals video. You need to start thinking, okay, I'm going to start comparing like this speaker set versus this speaker set, this head unit against this head unit, this amplifier against this amplifier. Start doing, right now, actually start doing like, shopping lists for like car enthusiasts, things like that. But the idea is to think about it from the perspective of if somebody was coming in to a video on, this amplifier, which one's best, then in that particular case, there's a really good chance that if they were searching for that those people might be trying to figure out like, hey, should I get this, let's see here. I haven't been into car audio for quite some time, but let's see here. What was the precision power? Okay, so like let's say we're gonna compare like a precision power amplifier against like a kicker amplifier, right? And I'm on YouTube because I'm like in that moment, like, okay, which, I know I'm gonna get one of these. I'm at the shop right now. I just don't know which one's better, right? So I hop on YouTube and I'm looking for, okay, which one's better, this one or this one? Then I land on your particular video, and then of course in that case they would buy it at the car shop. But for people that are gonna order it off Amazon, put that stuff in themselves, or order it off Crutchfield or something, for them, then they can be like, okay, this one is clearly better, so then they would make that purchase from there, from your video description, or they would just go and buy it from there. But the idea is I would definitely start doing more reviews, more comparisons, things like that, because the intention when somebody clicks on that type of content is different than the intention when somebody clicks on something trying to just learn about how like a subwoofer or a port works. So so I would definitely take that approach. Let's see here. Another thing as well that I would think about when it comes to this is I would think about, let me check something here really quick. Okay, yeah, we're good. Another thing that I would think about as well is you can also start putting together like guides. And what I mean by that is since you are trying to, generate affiliate income from this, so just some, and this one's like a little bit outside of making, video content, is you already have a blog, I see. So one thing that you could start doing is you could start putting together like guides, right? Like amplifier guides, subwoofer guides, entire kit guides, things like that, just things that you recommend. And you can make those available for free. And then by making those available for free, you would also include affiliate links inside of those PDFs. You couldn't do this for Amazon. They don't like that. But for like Crutchfield, someplace like that, you might be able to. But basically, you know, within those guides, you can also put affiliate links linking out to, you know, all of the different things that you're talking about in those particular guides. And then as a bonus, you also, like, they win, right? The people that sign up for it, because those people, you know, they get the actual guide. They get to be informed about the thing that they're looking into. You win because you get the, you know, the affiliate sale if they end up purchasing something. But you also win because in order to get that guide, if you set it up this way, then you can also do it to where they have to input their email. And if you wanted to, you know, level that whole thing up, you could also make that guide, turn it into like a weekly email or a monthly email, to where you just kind of keep people informed on what's going on in like the car audio world. And by doing that, that gives you an opportunity to pull people back into your YouTube channel. That gives you the opportunity to also spread awareness about some affiliate offers and things like that through the actual emails themselves. You know, like, hey, you know, Crutchfield is having a, you know, a sale this weekend, you know, click here to, you know, check it out, whatever. So then that way it just gives you more options and more ways that, you know, that people can click on those particular affiliate links, and it gives you more touch points through the, through setting up the email sequence. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down, Beanie Draws. Oh, interesting.
Super chat.
Thank you for the heads up there. Y'all know what's going on with this box, man. Like I like the settings, like everything's the same, and yeah, it's like it just issues, but it's all right. So let's see here. As we keep on going down, I turned that down, so we should be good now on that. It says YouTube is so hard growing compared to, let's test it.
Super chat.
YouTube is so hard at growing compared to TikTok. Always wish it was with YouTube and make money. Same video, TikTok has 83,000 views and YouTube has 816,000 views. Need to find a way. So I'm gonna tell you something right now that you probably don't want to hear, but the reason for that is because on TikTok, all it takes to get a view is somebody going like this. Right? That's it. Just somebody going like that. And then, you know, if they watch it for just a little bit of time, then you get a view. That's why you have 83,000 views. It's not because people, you know, like responded. Like, sure, they watched the video and they might have looped it, things like that. So therefore, you know, TikTok keeps showing it to people. So you did awesome there. But I'm just telling you in terms of the comparison of how the two different systems work. So on YouTube, the shorts shelf is similar to TikTok, to where you get those views. It's really easy to get views there because same exact thing. Like, people just swipe and then your video just happens to be there, right? So the difference is when it comes to the longer form stuff and you're just uploading longer form content, is you have to actually get good at getting people to click. And that by itself is like a whole other thing. So the difference is this, to where it's like, oh, hey, here's a video, some random video that the system is just putting in front of me, versus you being able to actually pull people into the content, either from, you know, homepage, recommended videos, or from YouTube search. So that's the difference. So the quality of the viewers in that particular situation is also going to be drastically different, because one viewer is just having the content like happen to them, right? They're just sitting there and they're just flipping through, you know, thing after thing after thing. It just happens to them. And then on the other version of it, people are clicking on the content because they want to watch that content, or they're curious about that content. So in terms of the quality of the viewer that you get on YouTube compared to TikTok, doesn't even compare. So so just keep that in mind. But yeah, absolutely, growing on everywhere is challenging. So the fact that you're doing great on TikTok, like I would just go all in on TikTok, right? Like, you don't have to do YouTube. But if you are putting up good, you know, quality content on TikTok, and it is doing well, you know, in the, you know, on TikTok, then I would definitely, you know, start just putting those up on a regular basis in the short shelf. And you might have, you know, some hits here on YouTube as well, coming from the short shelf. So let's see here. D gave me a little preview of Creator Mix. Looking forward to it. Yeah, also looking forward to it, man. Like, yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Super excited to release that into the world. Tons of value added there, and just kind of filling a good gap in that whole thing. Super chat sound effects volume is on high. Okay, yep, got that taken care of. It should be okay now. So let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to hop back into the form for this one, and then we will come back over here in just a minute. So the next question that we have here on the list is, The Daily Manifest. The Daily Manifest is they do self-help content. The goal of the channel is to help people as well as grow my paid group. Question. I plan to do live streams 4 days per week. That will be my primary content rather than posting fresh videos. Thoughts, please, on how good/bad that'll do for growth. And any tips you feel inclined. So live streaming can do great. Live streaming, if you're really good at live streaming and if you're talking about the right things like pop culture and stuff like that, like live streams can do fantastic. And the trick, if you are going to be doing a live stream only channel, is to make sure that you're doing live streams on things that are exceptionally popular. So, for example, like the finance market, those guys just crush. I think Tom Nash, he might still be here, I'm not sure, but he was in here earlier. Like he's in the finance world and he lays tons of value on his viewers. People know that they can trust the information that he shares. Therefore, people just keep flooding back, right? Because he keeps giving them good tips and it keeps helping people make money. Therefore, they just keep coming back because they're loving the stuff. Same exact thing goes, with, when you're talking about pop culture, just in general, is, you're tapping into something that people are, just in general interested in at scale. And because of that, you are just by default increasing the chances of your content doing better. But at the end of the day, your live streams have to deliver. You have to be able to, just put together a good live stream to where people enjoy it. And to where in your case, if you're only uploading or if you're only doing live streams, you're not doing video content, I would also make sure that when you're doing your live streams that you're thinking of it from the perspective of the replay as well, because, people are going to get that live value, but they are also going to get value from the replay as well. So don't like lollygag when the stream first starts. Don't have like countdown timers that are counting down like, hey, we're going to start this thing in 2 minutes or 5 minutes or anything like that. Just, start the thing and just let it happen. Because when people use those, countdown timers, the problem that you run into there is people are like, oh, well, it gives people a chance to like come into the stream and blah, blah, blah. Right, but streams are also very transient as well. So because of that, not everybody that started the stream is going to, continue watching the stream, and people are still going to be coming in regardless. If you start that stream right now, or if you, put some type of countdown timer in the front, 10 minutes in your stream, new people are still going to be coming in. 15 minutes in your stream, new people are still going to be coming in. 30 minutes in your stream, new people are still going to be coming in. So don't even worry about countdown timers and things like that. Yes, I have, Beanie. I know that they use that on a regular basis, and I've definitely mentioned that in the past. Hey, what's up, Pie in the Sky Tours? Hope that you're doing awesome. AE White says, I'm launching a channel dedicated to health, self-development, and spirituality. Should I start with just one topic or keep it broad when starting? I would start with one topic, but one thing to keep in mind, though, is if your entire channel is dedicated to health, self-development, and spirituality, you're definitely going to be, hitting a very specific target audience with that. So because of that, I would start with the things that are going to be easy for people to come into your channel for, and like the health content, right? Like that's pretty easy, because then depending on how you package that, people are like, oh, this is a health thing, that might impact me, so I'm going to watch it because it's for my health. So because of that, just think about it from the perspective of even though all of this content is for this particular audience, I'm going to start it with just like one pillar and get that moving. And then as I get that moving, then I'm going to start experimenting with the other content and see how they respond to that. So I would start with the one that's most important to you and the one that you care about the most and the one that, has the information within it that you are trying to spread the most. I would start with that one and then build out from there. But when it comes to niching down, though, one thing to think about when it comes to the content that you're putting out on the channel is when you're thinking of niching down, it's not necessarily like the only filter that you have to run is this content that I'm going to be publishing tomorrow. Is this going to be a good fit for the people that I'm ultimately trying to reach with the YouTube channel? That's it. Like if you run it through that filter and the answer is yes, then in that particular case, then you're good to go. If you run it through that filter and it's like, well, I don't know, it's like a little bit outside of, of what they might, like really be interested in at the core, then in that case, you might want to reserve it. You can see some of this stuff in action on my channel. So basically, like when I put out content, like some of it, like I know it's going to perform out of the gate. Other content, I know it's not. Like for example, hey, Vigard, what's up, man? Hope you're doing awesome. But basically I just put out a video on Friday, I think it was, and that particular video is just some like studio hacks. I previously asked, hey, would you be interested in this type of content? People are like, yeah, I would love it. And then I published that video and people are like, they just don't care, right? So in that particular case, it's fine. And with that particular video, I had a pretty good, the majority of the people that are coming in and interacting with my YouTube channel with my video content, the majority of those people are people that are, just getting started on YouTube. And because of that, for those people, like studio hacks might not even be a thing yet because they're not even, thinking that far out yet. They're just like, hey, I'm just trying to get, these videos done and trying to get them up online and work this into my workflow. So like studio hacks aren't really like where they're at right now. So because of that particular video is my slow seeds that I'm going to be planning here over the next like year of, like tool videos and like little hack videos like that to try to bring in some of the people that have passed through that new content creator, content, a way to bring in some of those people and make content that's relevant to them. So because of that, from a, purpose of the content standpoint, the thing that you got to think about is one, with each one of these videos I'm putting out, is it a good fit for the audience? And two, the purpose of it. So like for that video that I put out yesterday, the purpose of that is it's like a long play in terms of trying to bring some of those people that have passed through the channel that don't watch the, how to get views because they've learned how to get views content. So the idea is to start seeding some of that content to pull people back in over time. So, that's the approach there. Brian G. Johnson in the house. What's up, my man? Hope that you're doing awesome. Let's see here, but basically in a nutshell, just run it through that filter. Like, hey, is this topic a great fit for my audience? Like a laser fit, which is really important, especially when you're getting started. But is this content a laser fit for my audience? If yes, then publish it. If not, then hold off. Howl Gamer, everybody brace your ears here. I'm hitting the button. I hope this is better. I keep adjusting this, so fingers crossed for you here.
Super chat.
Says I stream games on YouTube and I felt that my channel is going dead. Okay, yeah. So then that's going to come down to your streams, the specific things that you're deciding to stream about when it comes to the games, how you're packaging the games, the experience that you take people through in those particular streams. Like if your channel is not doing well, it all comes down to the decisions that you're making with your content, how you're putting things together, how consistent you are, all of those types of things. Let's see. Ash, what's up, my man? Hope that you're doing awesome. Nice to see you in here. So I'm going to jump down to the bottom. Down here, we got Zip saying, I appreciate you for your hard work and helping people grow. Made my gaming channel about 2 years ago. Growth is super slow, but I'll never stop. Keep at it. Here's the thing. If growth is slow, if you don't mind it, then that's fine. But if you're like, hey, I would like to accelerate things a little bit, then in that particular case, I definitely recommend that. I don't know if you hang out in these streams a lot or not, but I really recommend that you take notes, as we're going through the stream, and that you just, kind of check some of the stuff that I talk about while I'm answering some of these questions. It's really, man, it's funny. Like one person said, like, Clementia here says that my mic's too quiet. Other people are like, yeah, everything's too high. Yeah. Like I don't know what to do here. So yeah, so I'm turning my mic up now. I've got my sound effects kind of low, and we're just going to roll with this and just kind of see how it goes. Okay. So let's see here. Oh yeah. So if you do have that problem where you're like, hey, my channel is growing slow, I would definitely like for it to, grow faster. Then in that particular case, you need to go into your YouTube analytics and you need to, figure out why it's growing slow. It might be to where you're like, hey, I'm doing, my gaming channel and I'm doing like a lot of live streaming, not really uploading video content. I'm not really creating any doorways into the channel, things like that. Then in that particular case, you would be able to identify that, and then you would be able to start working on fixing that. So if you are running into, like growth issues, the answer does, lie in your YouTube analytics. So in some cases, it comes down to just deciding, the right topics that people respond to most on your channel and kind of leaning into that sort of thing. Brian says that the audio is fine. Okay. So we have the audio slow and keeps, I wonder if this thing reset the microphone again. Nope, that one's still there. Oh, I know what's going on. Okay, how about now? Does it sound better now? I had all of my processing off for my microphone here. That's funny. I forgot I did that. So yeah, let me know if that's better. Okay, so as we keep on going here, and it might actually end up being like super loud now that I just did that. We're gonna find out. So keep in mind, so now everything should be balanced like it typically is. Much better. Oh, okay. All right, good. Okay, so then we got that. Okay, fantastic. All right. Thanks for the heads up. If you guys wouldn't have said that, you guys wouldn't have been like, hey Nick, then I wouldn't have even realized that I did that. So okay, so here we go. So let's see here. We got that one. As I'm gonna scroll down, Ash Borland says no question, but thank you, Ash.
Super
I appreciate it, man. Firewine says, how to get sponsors for my quiz
Super
channel.
chat.
On your quiz channel, I'm not 100% sure exactly what it is that you're doing. But when it comes to any type of sponsorships, the idea is to think about what companies would be a great fit for what it is that you're doing. So in some cases, if you're doing like quizzes in terms of like, I don't know if they're like books or like what it is that you're doing, but if you are doing that type of thing, then I would reach out to the companies of some of the things that you're covering. If you're just asking questions, then in that particular case, I would start thinking, okay, who is it that I can reach out to that would be a great fit for the type of content that I make? Open up a spreadsheet, start writing them down in terms of the companies that you think would be a great fit for what it is that you're doing based on who it is that's watching your videos. And then hop on LinkedIn, hop on the internet, start looking for the people who it is that you need to talk to. Typically, influencer marketers is the thing for it. If they don't have influencer marketing teams, then in that case, you can just reach out to their marketing team in general and start those conversations, letting people know that you have the channel. Put together a media kit that shares information about your demographics, your average view counts, things like that, so that they can have a better idea of who it is that you're reaching, the amount of volume that you have. If you've ever promoted anything as an affiliate and you have that data so that you can show that your content converts, then in that particular case, you want to make sure that you include that sort of thing in your media kit as well, so that they can just get an understanding of, is this particular, channel a good fit for what it is that we're doing, for us to, sponsor or, run an ad campaign with them. Let's see here, but it's going to come down to your outreach. So another thing that you want to do is you also want to make sure that you are when you're reaching out to these companies, if you're doing outreach, like if it's coming in, it's a little bit different, but like when you're doing outreach, you want to make sure that you're also like, you have the domain name for your YouTube channel. I have a video about this, but you want to make sure that you have your domain name for your YouTube channel so that you have an email connected to that, so that you're not just hitting up all these companies from a Gmail address, that you have an actual, company that you're hitting them up from. And look, as a content creator, as a heads up for you guys for this too, like as a content creator, there's a lot of companies that are reaching out. You're seeing a lot of people from like the Czech Republic. There's a lot of like Chinese, agencies that are reaching out, things like that. Some of them are scams, some of them are not. But basically, a lot of them are reaching out for some very shady like email addresses these days, and they're saying they represent other companies and things like that. So just be really careful about, because I know everybody's like hungry for sponsorships and things like that, and I get it. But just make sure that you're being, very that you approach it like a detective when it comes to, looking at some of the inbound emails that you get, either now or, once you do get to that point where you start having the inbound emails. Shark Scrapper says, that was a real-time lesson on how to not get flustered on a live stream and resolve a technical issue, kept audience engaged and make them a part of the solution. Awesome. Thank you, Shark Scrapper. So, like the whole thing with live streaming is that, fortunately, people are relatively, patient about that sort of thing. As long as it's not too ridiculous, people are typically patient about, just tech problems and working out that kind of stuff. So, I appreciate everybody's patience while we were working through that. Beanie Draws says, this super chat is just to say you rock. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, man. Hey, Kitty. Hope that you're doing great. Saying hey to Albie-tastic. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down, Mr. Camera Junkie says, I like the studio video. Thank you. Matthew says, one should just list hardware used correct, such as you're doing a tutorial on mic comparisons, list brand, external links, etc. in the description. Yeah. So if you are like promoting something as an affiliate, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are listing the things that your audience would want to buy. So as an example, like Beanie, right? So like if Beanie, because he draws dinosaurs, it's what he does on his YouTube channel. So if Beanie's drawing dinosaurs, it doesn't really make a ton of sense for him to link to his YouTube gear. Like, hey, this is the camera that I use, right? But what it would make sense for Beanie to link to would be something, like maybe because he does a lot of drawing on the iPad with the iPad pencil. So let's say that he got some cool like wraps for his pencil or, something like that, or he got apps, well, I guess with since they shut down the app affiliate program, I guess that's not a good example. But like with the pencil though, or maybe if he uses, and I'm not sure if he does or not, but if he uses one of those gloves that you put over your hands when you're drawing on a tablet to where it makes everything smooth, then in that particular case, those are the types of things that he would want to link to, because then he could mention during his videos, oh hey, by the way, I've got links to this pencil thing. I'm getting a lot of comments, especially if he's getting a lot of comments about it. I'm getting, comments or some feedback on this pencil thing, or hey, I just started using this and it helps me grip this pencil better. I got to link this down in the description if you want to check it out. And by doing that, it's something that's relevant to the audience. And that's what you got to think about. So like, for example, if you're doing, like gaming content, it doesn't make sense to link to like your camera gear unless you have like YouTube gamers watching your content. Then in that case, it makes a little bit more sense. So you just want to make sure that you're thinking about, those types of things in terms of exactly what it is that you're linking to. Let's see here. Brian G. Johnson in the house. Absolutely, he is. I miss you, Brian, man. I hope that you're doing awesome. Saw your Thanksgiving pictures. Looks like you are, that you're happy, you're having a good time. Hope that you're doing fantastic. Wisco Ted says, what are the first things you work on before even pressing record? SEO, optimization, titles, thumbnails, etc. First thing I do is I run the idea through a filter, right? Like basically, my approach is that I have a bunch of stuff that I'll just throw, like my video ideas for my process. My video ideas, I will throw those into either, I've got like Google folders for this. I've got notepads in my phone for this, just like a whole different things for that. I've got an actual like content schedule that I'll just drop, ideas into as well. So there's the idea side of things. So if somebody leaves a comment and they're like, hey, could you make a video about this? If it's like something really good that I haven't done before, then that would be the thing. If it's, just regular content schedule stuff, then basically like I have that big list of ideas, right? It's huge. And with that list of ideas, the next step is I start mapping things out. So I made a thing for this. My tablet's over there, but I made it. It's called I made a website for it, and I actually sell it. It's padplanet.com. But I don't buy it because we're at the end of the year right now, and I haven't made the new one yet. But basically, with that, what I'll do is I'll take those ideas and I'll start writing them out on that planner, and I'll start thinking of, okay, like if I make a video about this, how can I link this? How can I link this with like past content? And I'll start thinking of the actual flow as well. Like, okay, so I have all these different ideas. If these are the ones that I'm going to be making for the month, then how am I going to, connect these together, either with content that's currently on the channel, or if I make a video here at the end of the month, am I going to link that to this video at the beginning of the month just to kind of help drive additional traffic to it because it's a money video, things like that. But basically, I'll start putting the content together that way in terms of how everything's going to flow. And then once I have the general ideas for the videos, then I'll start working on the actual titles and things like that. So I'll do that at the part right before I make the video. So I'll start thinking, okay, so this is how, this is the content I'm going to be putting out. This is how it's going to flow together. So then the next thing from there is how am I going to get people to click on this, right? Like, how am I going to make it relevant to the audience? How am I going to make it important to them? How am I going to get them to click on it? You guys, right? I got to think like, okay, how am I going to get everybody here to click on this? And then I'll start, writing down different title ideas and start thinking of different ways I'm going to frame it. And as I'm doing that, I'll write down the actual title. And then next to that, I'll do like a bar. And then next to that, if I'm going to be using text in the thumbnail, or if I have any ideas for what I'm going to do with the thumbnail, then in that case, then I'll write, both of those down next to each other. And then I'll write down as many of those as I need to for it to come out as a title that I think is like, okay, yeah, I think they'll respond well to this. And then from there, then I'll actually make the video itself. On the SEO side, I definitely do look into SEO, not as much as I did as I used to. My channel used to be like 100% I'm targeting SEO for everything. But now I kind of mix it up to where, some of my videos are search targeted. Some of mine, I'm just, trying to play the home pages and suggested videos, that kind of stuff. So because of that, SEO isn't always a part of that. But if it is a video that I am targeting for search, then of course, I'll research the other channels that are making the same content. I'll research the actual search results for different ways that people would look for it, see the other people that are ranking there, see how they're framing it, see the thumbnails they're using, all that good stuff, so that I can, use all of that for ammo, so to speak. And another thing with that as well is the videos that are at the top. I'll actually click on those and I'll actually watch the videos, and I'll see the hooks that they use. And I'll be like, is there a way that I can do that better? Do I be able to grab somebody's attention better as they came into the video? Is there things that they left out of their video? Maybe I'll look at the comment section and see any feedback of like, hey, you didn't mention this, or why didn't you say this? Or, hey, any holes that they might have left, so I can make sure that I fill those types of things, or even mention them in passing at the beginning of the video. So for example, like let's say that somebody made a video on, what could I use as an example here? Let's say somebody made a video on live streaming software. Then in that particular case, if I go into the comment section, I see people talking about like, oh, hey, you didn't mention this, or hey, this is, like in order to, hey, this is a paid thing, but you kind of framed it as free, but maybe it is a free thing, but they have paid options, things like that. Then in that particular case, I might mention that at the very beginning of my video, whatever, pain point that the comment section is having on, someone else's video. Just so that I'm addressing them. So if anybody had watched those videos and they had those problems, then, as they're coming into my video, I'm already answering some of those questions for them. Like those are the types of things that I do when I'm looking at SEO. And of course, on the optimization side of things, like that's pretty much second nature. But since SEO is also based on performance, just like if you're trying to pull traffic from the homepage or suggested videos, then in that case, that's why I dig into the actual content of other people that are making the content so that I can make sure that my hooks are strong, make sure I'm putting the video together in a way that I think is competitive with those videos. Sometimes I nail it. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes, I get beat out in that situation, but that's the approach that I take. Let's see here. So Brad says that I'm using the Stream Deck for camera switching. I'm actually using the ATEM Mini for the camera switching. So this is, I have the Stream Deck here. This will actually trigger things if I end up having guests come on here later. Then I'll be using this to trigger different scenes in StreamYard. But as of right now, my Stream Deck at this moment is only just for turning the lights on and off back here. For this Stream Deck over on this side here. Over on this side here, and then the one that's sitting on the desk over here, this one is the one that's triggering all the stuff in the background. Let's see here. So as we keep on going through our list here, let me make sure I got everybody taken care of over here. Okay, so we got through those mic problems. So I'm just scrolling down here. I'm catching up. See here. Appreciate that, Beanie. Thanks, man. Let's see here. Fine Wine. Okay, so Fire Wine says, I model my channel off a successful quiz channel, but my channel isn't growing. Okay, so modeling off of theirs that's fine. It's a good approach because that gives you kind of like a starting point, but you have to also be able to separate from them. So basically, the difference between your channel growing and their channel not growing is that their videos are just getting a better response than yours right now. So they might have just more data on the channel if they've been on YouTube for a long time. So YouTube already knows the right people to show their content to based on other content they watch on YouTube. Whereas, if your channel's new, YouTube might still be trying to figure out who that perfect fit is for your content. So what I recommend that you do is, of course, pay attention to your YouTube analytics, look at your click-through rate, look at your click-through rate from the different traffic sources, look at your audience retention, see how much people are completing your videos, see how often people are coming back to your channel, that sort of thing, so that you can, just kind of get an understanding of how your content's performing for the viewers, and then you can make adjustments from there. Because at the end of the day, if you want your channel to do well, you have to be able to get a response on YouTube from the viewers that are using the platform. And what is happening on your channel versus another channel, both of those things are completely irrelevant to each other because, you don't know what's happening with that other channel. If it's an established channel, then YouTube has tons of data. If it's not an established channel, if they're just getting started just like yours, you don't know what's going on in the back end of that channel. They could just be making content that's just more high response. They could be, feeding that channel from another, YouTube channel or another platform that they have, those types of things. So because of that, definitely pay attention to what's going on in your space, but don't let it get you down if somebody else is doing better because you don't really know what's going on there. In addition to that, make sure that you're digging into your YouTube analytics because that is where you'll find the answers in terms of, why your channel isn't performing. I hear you there. I could use like a sandwich or something myself. Or maybe even a potato. Maybe after the stream today, we just got some like sweet potatoes. They're not like normal potatoes, but we got a big batch of sweet potatoes. So I might actually make one of those after the stream today. Martin says that last week he streamed with a dead mic. Windows had set his input to a USB webcam. Yeah, it's happy. Yeah, man. Like live streaming is like a wild thing. Because, you have stuff like that to where you see the problems. Like I do this, like every Saturday, plus I do live streams on other channels. I do like interviews with people, stuff like that. So like the settings within this machine, they stay pretty much the same. But, like I run into like all of these, situations. Like when I was recording the voiceover for the video that I did yesterday, the video that I published yesterday, when I was recording the voiceover for that particular one, I turned that processing off. And when I did that, then of course now, it created a thing for today because I forgot to turn it back on. So here, Point and Sound says, Nick, could you take a moment to show us your mic setup, looping, connections, etc.? So it's a really basic setup, to be honest with you. So so basically, let me turn it on. Oops, wrong thing there. I'm just hitting all these buttons for like no reason. So basically, if I turn it back to this camera here, I'm going to take this down. So basically, to start it, the mic itself is a Shure SM7B. It's connected via XLR. You can see it coming out of the bottom. This is basically routing down underneath the desk into the channel that goes underneath my desk for cable management that I showed my video yesterday. Boom, it's pinned to the top of the screen right now. 3-minute video. You guys should watch it because there's some helpful stuff in there. But anyway, from there, inside of that channel, I have a little box. It's called a cloud lifter. It's a little blue box. And the mic plugs into the XLR out of this, plugs into that, and then it comes out of the other side of that. The reason that I have that is for this particular mic, it adds it's either 20 or 25 decibel gain without introducing more noise to the signal. So, so basically it makes the mic a little bit louder, which is important for this particular microphone. And then out of that, it comes out, the cable in XLR comes out of the back of that, and then it just plugs directly into the into the mic here. Now, when it comes to the setup over there, totally different situation, because you mentioned like looping. So when it comes to that, if you're talking about the whole loop thing over there in the music area, that's like a whole complicated thing. I've got it going through like mixers. I'm using, because it's on a Mac, I'm using a piece of software called, it might even be called like looping something, but basically the software itself, it basically allows you to route your signal internally in the computer. So then that way I can kind of have everything going into that software, and then I can have, like, hey, this is going to feed into like live streams, like that type of stuff, so that I don't end up, with like the howling and stuff like that when you end up, kind of looping signals together. So hopefully that helped. Let's see here. As we keep on going down through this list, he does make the cutest dinosaurs in the world. Absolutely. I need to actually update my beanie merch. Let's see here. CLMC Music says, hey, Nick, also sent you a question with the form. Too much to write here. Would like to know what my videos are not getting suggested much. What do I do wrong? So this is a great question. So hopefully we'll get to your question in the form here. We don't have a lot, so we should hopefully get to your question here. But basically, when it comes to the reason that you're not getting views, it typically comes down to a few problems. The first is at the topic level. So when you are putting out content and you are having problems at the topic level, that means that you are just making videos about things that just people at scale aren't really interested in, or that it's just a topic that you have to kind of like shoehorn into something, right? It's not something to where it's like, oh, people, it's going to be clear that, this is something that, people definitely, regularly enjoy. So that can be one problem. And then from there, if that part's okay and you don't have that problem there, then the next thing falls down to your actual packaging of the content, which is your topic, title, and thumbnail. So in terms of the thumbnail and the title, the next step of that is you are having a clicking problem. So it's either, coming at the topic side in terms of not making the content that has, a wide enough appeal, or you just can't get people to click on it. Now, when it comes to clicking, just a few tips for you is you have to make sure that I see that you're doing music. So I don't know if you're teaching people how to make music, or if you're just doing, music on your channel. But if you are doing music and you're just, like uploading songs, for example, and you just want people to hear those songs that you're making, you have to be really creative when it comes to how you're packaging that, so that when people see it, it's something that's interesting to them. Now, there's different approaches that you can take for this. One approach is, of course, like, let's say that you're doing like relaxing, music. Then in that particular case, you can make, entire, playlists full of, relaxing music, and you optimize those titles around relaxing music. You use imagery to where it just kind of, it's more symbolic of relaxing. Like maybe it's like, the forest, or, like a beach, or, whatever the thing is. But the whole idea is just packaging it up so that when somebody like me, who listens to that type of music on a regular basis on YouTube and just YouTube music in general, then when I see that on my homepage, even though I've never experienced your stuff before, I can clearly identify like, hey, this is something chill that I might be into. So then I'll drop down to the title from there, right? I'll see the thumbnail and I'll drop down to the title, because the thumbnail helps me recognize that, one, it's either music or just something kind of chill. And then I'm like, hey, this looks kind of chill. I drop down to the title and I see what it is. And if it's something that says like, 2 hours of like relaxing music, then like, I'm like, okay, sweet, I'm in. right? I'll listen to that while I'm working, right? So I click on that and I'm in. If it says something like, my latest song, probably won't click on that because I don't care unless I follow your channel. If I follow your channel, then in that case, I might click on it. But if I don't follow your channel, then in that particular case, I won't, it won't matter. So basically, if you get through that click problem and you're able to get people to click, right, your topic's fine, your thumbnails are helping them identify that, the music you're making or what it is that you're teaching is something that, they might be interested in, then in that particular case, then it would come down to your actual video content itself, which means that when people do click into the music, that they might not enjoy the music as much as they would like. You can see this in your YouTube, in your audience retention reports inside of your YouTube studio. You can actually click into your video and you can see how long people are watching or listening to your music for. So then, based on what that tells you, you'll be able to see crystal clear, like, hey, are people leaving these to where they start the music and they're just not vibing with it and they leave? Or are people, sticking around? And then if they are sticking around, then in that particular case, you're getting them to click. The actual, music that you're putting out's okay. People are enjoying the actual content itself. And then in that case, it just comes down to, putting out more music so that you're building out your library, so that you're creating more doorways into your channel. But in addition to that, you also want to start making playlists. And you want to start making playlists so that when people do come into a particular song, or if they're looking for it and they end up, coming in on YouTube, for example, like one of the things I'll look for is like meditation music playlist or relaxing music playlist or trap rap playlist 2021, things like that. So when I look for those sorts of things, I'm typically looking for playlists because I just want to turn it on and just kind of vibe out. So what you want to do, if the content itself isn't the issue, next thing you want to do is you want to start putting together those playlists. So as people are looking for those sorts of things, they end up popping up, and then that will also bring people into your channel. And another thing that you can do with that as well is you can also put playlists together that's your music mixed with a bunch of other music, and you just update that playlist on a regular basis, which is also going to help that. As long as people are flowing through that playlist and they're enjoying the choices of the music that you're putting in there, then YouTube will start showing that playlist around YouTube, and people can start coming into your content that way as well. Let's see here. So next up, we've got real estate exam.
Super chat.
So if I was doing my real estate exam again, then I would definitely be watching your YouTube channel. I actually did real estate for about a year. I was actually okay at it, but it just wasn't my. I ended up moving over to Thailand because I was like, not going to go in that direction. Okay, so launching in a small niche, real estate exam prep. The top 2 to 3 competitors have 250 plus videos and dominate. Launch with a lot of videos or slow and steady uploads. So slow and steady uploads, because what you have to do is just having content, and this is like if you're first coming into the platform, this is really important. So just having content on YouTube doesn't mean that you're going to get views on that content. Everything that you put onto YouTube and the results that you get from that content that you put on YouTube is going to come down to the performance of the content. So what that means is it's going to come down to your ability to get people to click on what it is that you are making, and your ability to give them a good experience once they do click on it in terms of the video content. So the reason that you don't want to just flood the platform with a bunch of videos is because you need to learn how people are responding to the videos that you are publishing, so that you can modify the additional videos that you're going to be putting out to create a better experience based on your audience retention reports of videos that you have published, or as you're publishing them, so that you can start making your content in a better way so that people can have a better experience with it, which means they're going to end up watching it for a longer period of time. They're going to end up wanting to watch more. And then therefore, if you can get them, further in your video, then the likelihood of YouTube showing that content to even more people is going to drastically increase. Okay. So it's not just about, hey, I'm just throwing a bunch of videos on here. The videos have to perform for the platform. If they don't perform for the platform, then having a bunch of videos isn't going to do you any good. They have to be videos that get some type of performance on the platform. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to get people, coming in mass off of a homepage. You can just make videos for YouTube search to get started. That's kind of like a low-hanging fruit, and a lot of people will take that approach, and I actually recommend that approach. Like when you're first getting started, target YouTube search for a nice handful of your content to just create a nice stable base of viewers that are, looking for what it is that you have. So that, like, the long play on this approach is that you target YouTube search at first, so that YouTube can identify, like, hey, people are looking for this content. They're having a good experience for this content. So YouTube starts collecting that data on these people that are having a good experience for your content, and they start using that data to help find other people like them on the platform that they can also show your content to on home pages and things like that. So because of that approach of, hey, I'm targeting YouTube search for some of this, content when I'm getting started, is a really good approach, especially doing what it is that you're doing. So like, for example, they might have 250 videos out there, but I guarantee you there's somebody coming onto the platform today that's looking for real estate, related information about their exam that, it's going to take them a nice handful of searches before they'll even run into one of those channels. And a really cool thing about YouTube search is if your video performs at a competitive rate as, to the other videos that are in the search results, then your video will end up competing right next to those other big channels, or the ones that, have all those videos out there. Your video will end up, showing up in search, like, right next to their content, as long as your content, performs well in the search results. So because of that, don't look at competitors, and this is for all of us, right? We all have to take this approach. Like don't look at the competitors that have all these videos as like, they got all these videos. It's going to be really hard for me to get my foot in the door here. Like, look at it from the perspective of like, hey, these other channels have kind of paved the way. So because of that, I'm going to go look at their channels and I'm going to see the content on their channels that have performed the best. And I'm going to make my versions of some of that content. I'm going to make, variations to where maybe they took this approach. I'm going to take a totally different approach and, try to, deliver the information in a better way than they did. So, don't necessarily look at it like, hey, they're so far ahead. Just look at it as like they paved the way, they're doing their own thing. But now what I have to do is I have to start making videos in a way that people do respond to them on the platform so that I can end up showing up, in search. And eventually, once YouTube understands that, once the system understands that those people that are looking for your content and finding it through search are also, finding some of these other channels, then that's where YouTube will actually start recommending some of your content next to their content and vice versa as well. So because of that, don't just throw a bunch of videos up there. Make sure that the videos that you're putting up there are videos that perform. There's a lot of people that actually talk about like YouTube, and they will they'll tell people to do exactly what you're talking about. They'll tell people, they're like business, like hey, like business for YouTube people, and they'll tell people like, hey, just make a bunch of videos and just get them up there. And that's not, like 10 years ago, sure, right, that was a great approach, but these days everything is performance based. So you have to make sure that what it is that you're putting out there is, the topics are things that people care about. Your thumbnails and titles are done in a way that people can identify what your content is about and know how it's, something that would be important to them. And then, your titles are compelling enough to get people to click. And then once they click, you just give them a great experience with your content. Like, that's what it takes to win on YouTube now. Let's see here as we keep on going down the list. Real Estate Exam Genius.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Welcome to the Nimminati. Make sure that when you get the chance, go to nimminvip.com. That's going to redirect you to our members-only Facebook group. Fill out all the information on the way in, because that's how I verify that you are a member. And if you can do that before the stream's finished, then I'll let you in as soon as the stream is complete today. So let's see here as we keep on going down the list. Let's see here. Is suppression a real thing? No. So if you're talking about like YouTube suppressing your views, the only place that happens is if you're doing like conspiracy content or something like that, or if you're, one of those channels that are out there spreading like misinformation, stuff like that, then, you're going to run into that. If you do talk about, controversial things, then in that particular case, you might find that some of your content is restricted, not suppressed really, but it's restricted, which means that it can only be shown to like logged in users that are above 18. And the way to check for that, if you think that your content might be into that, is you can do this on your phone. I recommend doing it from another account, from a friend's account or something like that. But if you go into your settings, if you open the YouTube app, you go into the settings for that app, you can actually turn the app into restricted mode, and then you can go and look at your channel, and then you'll see any of your videos that are currently in restricted mode. So that's the closest thing that you get to suppression, as long as you're not, making, controversial type content. But one of the things you say here is, let's see, I used to get a lot more views in streams, and now it's just the regulars. Do you schedule your streams? What all affects streams being recommended? Please and thank you. Okay, so when it comes to scheduling the streams, if you scheduling them out in advance, typically you'll have more viewership because, there's more people just hitting that remind button. You also, if you are scheduling them in advance, you also want to add a trailer. So if you have that option in your channel like I do, then you want to also make a trailer, just letting people know why, they should come participate in your stream, what it is that they're going to be getting out of it, and make sure that you're leveraging that feature and that you're thinking of it from the perspective of, I'm trying to inform the people that have never interacted with my content before, trying to inform them what it is that they might get out of my stream. But, when it comes to scheduling, just schedule them in advance, as much as you can, within reason, of course. And in terms of what affects streams being recommended is if somebody comes into if they're clicking on it a lot, right? You have a high click-through rate, that's definitely going to help. And when it comes to, them continuing to recommend the stream, if people are hanging out in the stream, like people are hanging out in this stream, for example, if people just continue to hang out in the stream and they're clicking at it at a competitive rate, then YouTube will continue to show it to people. If nobody's clicking on it, as soon as people come in, they end up like leaving within a few seconds or whatever, then in that case, that stream probably isn't going to get much activity. So because of that, just make sure that, that you are just engaging in your stream. Try when you can to also, have, viewers interact. Like if people aren't really chatting, try to get them chatting, try to get, people hitting the like button. As a matter of fact, hit the like button now if you haven't yet. And, just try to, just get some interaction going, because anything that you're doing to keep people engaged, YouTube sees that as a positive signal, therefore will continue to recommend your stream as long as you are getting those, positive interactions going down. Oh, let's see here. So next up, we've got Foxfire Gaming.
Super chat.
Says thanks for the super chat. Says on my gaming channel, could it work when I get a friend in and we do collaborative and separate content? So far, I only made videos for one game, Genshin Impact, and that's a fantasy game. With him, there would also be Halo content. So you can definitely, kind of cross-pollinate like that, but just be careful with that, because especially if you're just getting started, because what you don't want to do is, like, let's say that they have more followers than you, or you have more followers than them, or let's just say you don't have more followers, but let's say the followers that you do have are just more engaged and they're more likely to take your recommendations. If you say, hey, go follow this person over here, and they go do it, if they're not into Halo, then in that particular case, that can actually work against them, because YouTube's going to be testing some of their content against those people. And if they're not into Halo, then they're not going to click on it. And then therefore that's going to hurt the click-through rate, for those initial people that it's showing to, which is pretty important. So because of that, just make sure that you're being mindful about the crossover between games. So if you do find like, hey, with this Genshin Impact, which is a fantasy game, there is a lot of crossover, and you can test this. Like, just go onto Reddit. Like, for example, if there's a Genshin Impact, subreddit, which I guarantee there is, or I won't guarantee it, but there's a high likelihood that there is. If you go there, just make a post. Hey, what other games do you play? Do a lot of you guys play Halo as well? You're like, what other games do you play besides this particular game? And just try to feel out the community that way to see if you can just get some type of an idea of any type of, crossover that you might have between games. But the important thing to think about there is just audience and making sure that you're in front of the right audience. Like, if you do it every now and then, not that big of a deal. But if you're going to be doing it on a regular basis, you got to really make sure that you're being mindful of that audience crossover. Dreamy Bohemian,
super chat.
I like that channel name. Says, here, let's go into space. Boom. There we go. So says, hey Nick, I'm a super newbie, and I have a tech question regarding how to video and be able to see what I'm doing at the same time. I'm a crafter. Where can I go to get general, not over my head info? So if you are trying to look at, basically if you're crafting and you have like an overhead cam and you're wanting to see like, hey, what is it that's in the camera? If you're using an actual like DSLR camera, then in that case, a lot of those types of cameras will have an HDMI out. That's actually how I'm running this entire stream right now, is through the HDMI out going into this little box. But through that HDMI out, you can connect it to a TV. If you have an HDMI input for the TV, you can connect it to computer monitors, things like that. They even sell like little monitors. I don't know if you can see that one. You can't see it. They even sell like little monitors that you can put like on top of the camera, things like that, in order to be able to see it. Other things that you can do if you want to just kind of work around it is, like, if you have, like, let's say you're doing like an overhead shot of your crafting here. Then one thing that you can do as well is you can set up, like here I'm using StreamYard. You can use like any live streaming software. It can be StreamYard, it can be OBS, which is free if you're just using it as like a preview. And what you can do there is you can actually have the HDMI going. If you're just doing a webcam, then in that case, you wouldn't even be using HDMI, it'd be feeding right into the computer. But you can open it up in like a live streaming software, and you can record directly into that while you're recording to the memory card, or you can just use that live streaming software as a preview. So that you can just kind of, if you're crafting here, then the camera would be here, and then you could have your laptop just sitting like right over here. And then that way you'd be able to, while you're doing your crafts, you'd just be able to look up and just confirm that, everything's within frame and see, exactly how it is that the viewer would be seeing what it is that you're recording. But in terms of where to go for that, in terms of that process or exactly how that's, set up, the hard part, because you say, where can I go to get general, not over my head info? So ultimately what you're trying to do here is you are just trying to get that preview. So a great way to do that is to, if it's through a cam, just use live streaming software like OBS. I have a video on my channel about, how to use OBS. You can also just go into YouTube search and look for, how to use OBS. You don't need to know how to use it. All you need to do, you should actually look for like how to set up OBS, because all you need is to open the software, and then you just need to connect a camera source. That's it. That's all you have to do. So if you install the software first, then your very first run through, I know OBS does this, they actually have a wizard to where it'll actually take you step by step through setting it up, connecting your webcam and all of that, so that, would also be a good approach. Kitty Robinson says there's so many ways that you can do this. She actually does this as well. So like what Kitty does is she has like a face cam like this, and then she also has an overhead cam as well. And, she'll switch back and forth between them and all of that through her content. So, that approach is definitely, one way that you can do that. But like I said, if you're using DSLRs, you can HDMI out or into your computer and do it that way. Or if you're just using a webcam to make your videos, then in that case, you can just use the live streaming software in order to preview it that way. So hopefully that helps. Let's see here. As we keep going down, just making sure I got all these caught up, and then we're going to jump back into the forum here so we can go and crush through some of those as well. So let's see here. Okay, one more down here. So cablelessly delicious, carblessly delicious low-carb recipe says, hey, Nick, thank you for your expertise regarding live streaming. I was thinking about doing recipes live as a new channel. Should I build subscribers first? So what I recommend that you do if you're doing recipe content is I would actually just do video content at first, build your community up, and then I would, once you get, a little bit of a community going to where you start recognizing, some people coming back to your channel in the comments, then I would do a live stream for that, and then go through your recipe building there. But I would actually do video content on the recipes to kind of set your foundation. Let's see here. So the way that you get this is a great question. So the way to get a better understanding of analytics is, of course, to dig in, but also there's a lot of videos on YouTube about YouTube analytics, about, the things to look at, how to interpret them. If you want to dig in deep, Roberto Blake did like a 5-hour live stream just on analytics. So the whole thing is just like, hey, this is what this means. This is what this means. This is how you interpret this, all of that. So I recommend that. Roberto Blake, I've got a link to him in the description of this live stream right now. To go to his YouTube channel, or if you can just hop on YouTube and just look for Roberto Blake, and then just go to his video page, and then you have the option to look for videos or live streams, switch it to live streams, and then just look for the one where he digs into analytics. YouTube has some information on it. Loopback, that's the one that I was using. Yes, thank you. Loopback was the software that I'm using on the Mac to actually, route things around. Thank you for that. Let's see here. So I think that has us caught up now. Let me look here. And okay, one more. So it looks like Alfie Games is next up. Okay, here we go. So Alfie Games
Super chat
says, I still got a small channel. How do you feel about a targeted ad campaign featuring a channel introduction video? That seems to be working for me so far. Always room for improvement. So in that particular case, you can do it, but here's the problem when you start running ads, like when you're first getting started. If you haven't learned how to get people to click and enjoy the content yet, as soon as you stop spending money, everything comes to a screeching halt. Because people will see the numbers. Like, hey, I'm getting views on this trailer, and, people are subscribing to the channel from this trailer. But what they're not thinking about is, okay, sure, they're subscribing to the trailer and what it is that you're telling them there, but now you still have to be able to get those people to click, when your content shows up on their homepage or recommended next to another video. So you have to, you can't shortcut the best practices, unfortunately. I mean, well, fortunately, because it keeps the platform clean, so to speak, but you can't shortcut those best practices through ad spend. because like I was saying, if you haven't learned how to get people to click on what it is that you're doing, then as soon as you shut that ad spend off, then everything comes to a screeching halt. So what I recommend that you do, because you say it's working for you so far, what I recommend that you do is that you try not spending any money, and that you try to, get that result and see how good you are at getting people to click and enjoy the content, and just monitor the video performance overall. If the video does well, then in that case, feel free to go ahead and, continue spending money. But if you publish that video and people don't respond to it, you can't get people to click on it, you don't get hardly any views on it, then in that case, I would just shut off the ad spend right now, focus on organic growth. And really, I would just focus on that, because once you get that down, you don't need to spend money on ads. But I would focus on that. And then if you want to, then after you have that part in the bag, then that's where you might want to consider running ads if you want to keep using that method. Okay, so now I'm going to jump down to the bottom here, and then we are going to move on forward here. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hop back into the form. And on this one here, we've got normal mode TV. And normal mode TV says that, let's see here, they do video game reviews. And the goal of the channel is to get better for now, but one day to make this full time. And the question is, do you recommend sharing your YouTube channel on your personal Facebook? I've been avoiding this due to embarrassment and the fear that people would sub but not watch. Yeah, so if you're sharing your content anywhere, what you want to do is you just want to run it through the filter of, for the people that I'm sharing this to, if my content were to show up on their homepage, what would be the likelihood, if I were to just take a guess, what would be the likelihood of the people that are on my personal Facebook page clicking on my videos based on the things that they're interested in? What's the likelihood of them clicking on my videos if I share this on my personal timeline? If the likelihood is pretty low, then in that case, don't do it. If you are in a Facebook group, or you have a Facebook group, same exact thing. Hey, are these people, going to respond to this if it were to show up on a homepage? If the answer is yes, then, you can share it in there. But if you do that, make sure that you are also keeping track of how those people are responding. Because if they're coming in, they're not watching your videos for a long period of time, or at least a period of time to where it's like a good experience for them, then it's not going to do any good. Your view counts will increase, but the overall performance of everything is not going to, because, the people are coming over because you're basically telling them to come over, or, you're sharing it in the group, and then they come over and then they're just not getting a lot out of the content. Therefore they're bailing. And because of that, that means that particular group is not a good group to share into, because those people are just not responding well to what it is that you're doing. But if you do find that they do come over and they respond to your content in terms of they're watching it for a longer period of time and all of that good stuff, then in that case, it might be more appropriate to share it. Nate the Lawyer, what's up, dude? Just saying hello. Love the weekly live. Thank you for swinging by, and I appreciate the super chat. Natalie Heel says, appreciate all your help. Is SEO important? If so, how do I maximize it? Great question. So when it comes to SEO, for those of you that are new to YouTube and just new to that whole thing, SEO stands for search engine optimization. And the idea when you are going after SEO, or when you're considering SEO, is that when you're optimizing your videos for search, you are giving yourself the opportunity that when somebody comes onto YouTube and they go to the YouTube search bar and they type in, how to tie a tie, that your video, as long as it's a high performing piece of content, would show up somewhere in those search results, and you would have the opportunity to get somebody to click on your content from search results. Okay, so that's what SEO is, and optimizing for SEO is. Now, a bonus with SEO when it comes to YouTube is that, one, you can pull viewership from YouTube search, but if you optimize your videos properly and you are able to get them to show up in YouTube search, there's also a chance that it'll show up in Google search, Yahoo search, Bing search, all of that as well, for any of the results where they show video results. So what you want to do when you are here, let me just go to Google here and I'll show you exactly what I mean. We'll do how to cook a cake. Probably look for something a little bit better than this, but I'm just going to show you here just to give you the thing here. So let me find this. So we're going to go right here. Okay. So right here, right? So I just typed in like how to cook a cake. Let me pull this up on the screen. It's always helpful. So in this situation here, I just pulled up, I just typed in like how to cook a cake, right? So here, I'll just move this box over here so you can just kind of see the results there a little bit better. So what you want to look for when you are targeting search, because you're saying, how do I maximize it? So that's what I'm thinking about here with what I'm getting ready to share with you. So when it comes to optimizing for search. Yes, YouTube is a search engine, but Google is also a search engine. You can get a substantial amount of traffic from Google search and the other textual search engines, as well as YouTube search. So if you are going to target something for YouTube search, it's really important when you're maximizing SEO. It's really important to make sure that you are in the process of maximizing this, the thing. It's important that you are doing some research first to make sure that that video is something that you can compete for. So the idea here is if we have like how to cook a cake, we can see right out of the gate at the very top of the search results, Google is showing us video results. And those video results, as you can see here, all lead into YouTube. Now, as a bonus for that, if we click down here, we can also see that this video has 7 key moments in a video, so somebody can jump right to the part that they care about. And here, this also has 10 key moments in this video, so somebody can also jump right into the part that they care about. Now, a couple things that that you want to think about here is when you are putting your chapters together, if you end up using chapters for your search targeted content, this is great, right? It takes you through that process. But another thing that you can do here is you can also use these to where you are also you're being informative, but you're also optimizing each chapter for search as well. And that can also help your videos also show up more, the actual, snippets show up in search as well. So for maximizing search, you want to make sure that you're looking for YouTube and that you're looking for here. But the idea is I put how to cook a cake. So you would think that from an exact match search that YouTube or that Google would be showing me that. But they're not. They're showing me classic cake vanilla recipe, how to make a birthday cake, how to make a chocolate cake, 3-layer cake made in the microwave. So what they're showing me here is content that people have responded to when they're looking for, similar things to this. So the idea is to make sure that you do this research first to make sure that they are showing video results. Now, if you find, let's just search for something, what wouldn't show video results? Let's do a, let's see here. Signs of, let's just do dehydration. So this one, right? It's not showing video results up here at the top. So if you're trying to they might show them down here. That's why I'm looking real quick. So, so in this particular, no, they're not. So here on Google, when we do signs of dehydration, if you did your research first, then in this particular case, this wouldn't be a good one to go for if you're going after Google and YouTube search because, you're not maximizing it here. Because then in this case, if you make a video about signs of dehydration here, you're only able to leverage YouTube search for that because they're not showing video results for this because on Google, when people are typing this in, they typically respond to textual information more than they respond to video results. Therefore, Google is prioritizing textual information versus video results. So you just want to do this research first to make sure that you're clear on Google. Now from there, the next thing you want to do, and I'm going to take this screen down for a second. Next thing you want to do when you are optimizing for search, first off, make sure that you're using TubeBuddy. I've got a link to them down in the description below because they help you, target keywords and stuff like that. But the next thing that you want to do, I'm going to share the screen here again. I think it's this one. So the next thing that you want to think about, and really quick in the chat, who here targets YouTube search? Like who here makes like search-based content? If that's you, then just say me in the chat. But basically, the next thing you want to do is for whatever it is that you are looking for, you want to put it up here. So like in this case, let's say like, how to bake a chocolate, how to bake a chocolate cake at home. That's what we're going to go for. So what you want to think about when you are targeting search is, of course, you want to go for high search volume, low competition. So when you use TubeBuddy, you're going to see this little box over here on the side that tells you like your chances of showing up for this based on, well, one, if you look at it in the weighted. Currently, this is just showing me unweighted. What that means is they take what's going on in your channel into consideration when they're showing you this result. But one of the things that they're showing you here is that this does get a decent amount of search volume. So you want to use, this or other tools like it to just get an idea of, how often are people actually searching for this so that I can make sure that I'm targeting a search term or a search phrase that people are actually looking for, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing that. But here, if we do how to bake a chocolate cake at home, we can see here that how to make the most amazing chocolate cake is actually ranking up here at the top. And then as we keep going down this list, typically, because YouTube does prioritize. If we go to this filter right here, by default, it's set to relevance. So because of that, typically YouTube search will show, what's relevant to that. So if you can have an exact match phrase like this, then typically it can help you show up in search better as well, as long as people respond to it, right? But when you are targeting, you want to make sure, or when you're doing your research, you want to make sure that you're putting in the phrases that you are considering going after and that you're looking to see the results. Now, when you're doing this, especially when you're using tools like TubeBuddy, like if we go here, for example, we go to the Keyword Explorer inside of TubeBuddy, then here, instead of putting in the entire title, like how to cook or how to bake a chocolate cake at home, I would actually start with like cake and just see like, okay, hey, what are people looking for? And hey, Choppa's still in the house. We got Cakes by Choppa right up here at the very top. I just want to go ahead and bring that to everybody's attention. But here, if we go for cake, then we can see, okay, like in this particular case, sure, people are looking for it like crazy, but for this particular one, I'm not really going to go after this one because it's going to be super competitive. So then if I did like how to bake a cake, then here, now we start getting into some fine tuning of this particular term. So in how to bake a cake, that might be a phrase that you're actually targeting, and that's probably going to be, pretty competitive here. So another thing that you want to look for is things like this, which is other ways that people are looking for this same exact phrase. And here we have like how to bake a chocolate cake for beginners. And then if I click on that one, then it's going to give me, similar feedback here on, the search volume for this, for, the competition for this and all of that. And then you can just keep going with this. So basically, the more you add to your search phrase, it's called long tail keywords or keyword phrases. And the more that you add to your search phrase, the more long tail it gets. So you have to be really careful here when you're trying to maximize YouTube search, because in this particular case, if you start getting too long tail, it can start getting to where, sure, this particular phrase, you might have a really high chance of ranking for this. However, it's so specific that hardly anybody's looking for it. So you got to be really careful for that sort of thing. And that's where using these types of tools can be really beneficial for helping you kind of really fine tune things. But another thing that you want to make sure that you're doing as well is when you are doing these types of things, like if we did, again, like how to bake a chocolate cake, we just went with this, then another thing that you want to do here is you also want to look and you want to see like these videos that are here. Like these are some pretty established videos. They've been here for a year, 2 years, a year, 5 years, things like that. But you might look at that and think to yourself like, okay, there's no way I'm going to show up here. But in reality, you might not show up here right away. But if you have a video that's high response in terms of your click-through rate is extremely high, your audience retention on it's high, people subscribe to your channel when they watch the video, they comment a lot, they like a lot, they add it to playlists, they share it with their friends, that kind of stuff, then the likelihood of you climbing in the ranks over time is going to be, relatively high, and you're going to be able to compete in some of these more competitive areas as well. But what you want to think about though is you just want to make sure that you're including keywords and or keyword phrases that you're trying to actually get your videos to show up for, because the default result is relevance. Okay, so that's what you ultimately want to go for. So like, for example, if I do like this particular one, I think Brian G. Johnson, he might still be at the top. But here, because everybody's like getting hungry. So if I just did like, how to get views on YouTube, I think Brian G is currently up here at the top of this. Let's see if he still is. Yeah, so he's right up here at the top. So like, for example, like here, right? Like in this particular case, if I was targeting how to get views on YouTube, the very first thing that I would do is I would type that in here, and then I would see like, okay, this Brian G. Johnson guy is up here at the top, followed by Think Media. Then we've got this guy, this crazy person right here. I don't know what's going on here with this live stream, but just as a quick reminder, live streams can also show up in search. But basically, you've got, the vidIQ channel here. You've got this dude making, videos about this, and you got all these videos making, or all these people making videos about this. So what you would want to do is you'd want to look above the fold here. And what that means is you want to look at what happens or what shows up before you actually scroll. And when you're doing that, you can see here that at the very top of this list, these are the top videos that I'm going to be competing for these placements, because these are usually the ones that get clicked on the most, the ones that are above this fold. So what you would want to do in that case is you'd want to actually see exactly what it is that they're writing with their titles, because if you write the same exact title, then the difference is going to be what's in the thumbnail, and there's not going to be really anything that's going to help you stand out in the search results against somebody else. So a win that Brian did here is he did how to get more views on YouTube in 2021 in 2 minutes. So that 2 minutes made his video extremely compelling, because then it's like, hey, I don't even have like a big time commitment here. Like I can start doing this right away, right? So because of that, in a year, he's got, 1.3 million views on this particular video. Next up, we got Sean down here at Think Media, how to get more views on YouTube in 2021, guaranteed to work, right? So if it's been somebody, like let's say you've been watching a lot of videos and you're like, man, I'm still not getting views. Well, Sean is leveraging that here by guaranteed to work. So like if you've watched like, a bunch of videos, on my channel and other channels, and things just aren't going the way that you want yet, that's going to tap into your psychology, because then it's like, oh, hey, I've watched videos from Brian already. And, that particular one, like I still, didn't see anything yet. And then Sean is down here saying like guaranteed to work. So there he's digging into your brain, right? So Brian's digging into your brain on the people that are wanting the results quickly. Sean's in your brain on people that are like, hey, I'm trying all this stuff and I just can't get the ball rolling. He's actually, tapping into that side of things. So if you're trying to maximize your SEO, what you want to think about is you want to look at the results that you're going after, right? And you want to look at the search terms that you're targeting, and you want to see what the other people are doing, and you want to see how you can leverage that in order to stand out, right? So in addition to that, you also want to click into the actual videos. You want to see how they're starting the videos. You want to see the processes that they're taking people through, or whatever information it is for the type of content that you make. But you want to, just kind of do that research so you can make sure that you're addressing people in a better way, that you're engaging with them more when the video first starts, that maybe you're being more informative, whatever the thing is. But you want to make sure that you're also leveraging that, because there's also this that happens. People come here, they open this, and they open this, and then they'll just click
implement,
on
like
they'll be like, okay, let me mute these. But they'll click on that, and then they'll be like, okay, well, this is, but they'll click on this, and then they'll be like, okay, well, maybe this isn't really what I'm looking for based on his intro. So because of that, I'm going to click on this one, and then I'm going to watch this one, as well. So you just want to make sure that you are, digging into the actual videos themselves, so that you can make sure that you are addressing the viewers as they're coming in a way that is at least to where you think the people that I'm trying to reach with my content, this is really going to resonate with them, right? So that's what you want to make sure that you're thinking there. So so hopefully that helps. But on the other side of it, you also want to make sure that you are thinking of, like, if you're trying to target YouTube search, you also want to make sure that you're thinking of it from the perspective of the viewer as well, in terms of, like, if somebody's looking for this particular thing, how can I just let them know quickly in that search result that the thing that they're looking for is what I have? And that's typically why you would want to use like an exact phrase match, so that you're not just doing it for the actual, like, platform of YouTube, but you're doing it for the viewer, in terms of, if I'm looking for how to peel a banana, and then your video title is how to peel a banana, well, you just nailed it. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So the likelihood of me clicking on your video that is matching the way that I'm thinking is also going to be high. So that's also why you want to make sure that you're, optimizing for the people, as well as that you're just, doing the right things with including the right phrase and keyword phrases to actually get you to show up on the relevancy side as well. So a lot of info to unpack there, I'm guessing, but hopefully that will, get you headed in the right direction. Okay, so next up on our list, as we keep on going through this here, simply Andrew's auto repair. So what's harder, having a girlfriend or a YouTube channel? Definitely YouTube channel. Definitely YouTube channel. Love questions like that. My girlfriend watches my streams sometimes too, so I got to be careful. But no, seriously though, having a YouTube channel is much harder. She's awesome. So Will Star says, I'm about to go through 10,000 subscribers. High five and fist bump to you. Nice work. Got somebody getting ready to cross through that 10,000 subscriber threshold. Woo! Says, I'm about to get to go through 10,000 subscribers. I gained over 5,000 in a month implementing your advice. Thank you so much. Any advice to take my channel to the next level? Absolutely. So basically, whatever changes you've been doing in the last month that have gotten you from 5 to 10, they have clues all over them. So what you want to do is you want to look at the content that's performing well, that's causing those changes to take place. I'm guessing that, they're getting way more views. Therefore, since they're getting way more views, you're able to, you have a lot more people interacting with the content. Therefore, you're getting a lot more people subscribing, right? So those videos are getting more views for a reason. So you want to go into your YouTube analytics and you really want to dig into those videos. You want to look at your retention, your click-through rate from the different traffic sources. And when you're looking at the retention, you don't want to just look at like, hey, here's a pretty graph that's right in front of my face, right? Oh, and really quick, hold on. I just want to follow up here. So Natalie Heel says, thanks, Nick. So it's dependent on video name, tags, hashtags. None of that matters. So the hashtags aren't going to make your video show up in search. The tags aren't going to make your video show up in search. Of course, you want to make sure that you're using that. You want to make sure that you're including the keywords and keyword phrases for now, but that has a very minimal role. What matters and like what you name your video file also makes no difference whatsoever. What matters is your ability to get the users of YouTube to click on your content and enjoy the content. That's what matters, because if it performs in that way, then YouTube will continue to show it in those search results and elsewhere on the platform. But if you're targeting search, it's going to come down to your title and how people actually respond to what it is that you're doing. So with your title, you just want to make sure that you include the keyword that you're targeting or the keyword phrase that you're targeting. The difference is cake versus how to make a chocolate cake. Cake is a keyword. Chocolate cake would be a keyword. How to make a chocolate cake would be a keyword phrase. How to make a chocolate cake for beginners would be another keyword phrase. So that's the approach. But back to Willstar here. So what you want to do is you want to go into that video and you want to look at your audience retention, but you don't want to look at it from the perspective of like, okay, here's just a graph. You want to look at it and you want to be like, okay, this is how people responded at the beginning of my video. Why do I think they responded that way? Why do I think that this hook or whatever I did at the beginning of this video, why do I think that made people stick around for the next 30 seconds? And then, you want to look at the next step. Okay, so people made it from that 30 seconds to a minute. Why do I think they stuck around for this? What was it that I was doing in my video? How often was I cutting the video? What was the pacing of my communication if you're talking in your videos? What music was I making? For example, you might find that in some of your content, you're using more upbeat music, but then if you made a video to where it's more like chill music to where people responded better or vice versa, you want to take note of every detail of your video. And then you want to try to test your theories on why it is that you think people responded at a high rate with your video against new content that you're publishing. So you want to look at the actual structure of the video. You want to think of the format, like in terms of, was it like a listicle video? If so, then, people that are interacting with your channel respond highly to listicles. So then therefore you want to start making more of those. Those types of things are what you want to make sure that you're digging into. Other things as well is you also want to do the same exact thing with your thumbnail, your title. You want to look at your thumbnail and you want to be like, okay, what am I focusing on in this thumbnail? What was the imagery that I'm using? If I use text in my thumbnail, like what did the text say? What colors was I using in the thumbnail? How many words was I using? Was there anything that I was doing to make the text stand out or not? Like what was the attention focused on this particular thumbnail? Same exact thing with the title. What was the structure of the title in terms of the order that I put the words that were the most compelling, where were those? The actual subject matter of the video, where was that in the title? You just want to break down everything with that video and just start looking for clues on why that video performed well, and then come up with theories on why you think that is, and then start testing those theories with new content. If you do that, because you already have a video that's performing well on your channel or multiple videos that are performing well on your channel. So because of that, you now have that data that you need that shows you like, hey, this is what performance looks like with your audience based on who YouTube is showing your content to, with your audience on your channel. Like you have that information now. So just dig into it and start to uncover like why it is that you think, people responded well to it, and test those theories against additional content. Funny 5 a day says, hey Nick, your communities are awesome. Can they review my channel? Need feedback for me to grow in the right direction. We don't do that here. In our members only area, we do that. So if you are a channel member and you're in the Facebook group, that's where we do that type of thing. So if you are wanting, somebody to actually, and it's not like a review where we go into like your stats, that's like a real review. But what we do is we do like, basically I pull up the channels. We have Zoom calls every week. We didn't this week because of the holiday, but besides that, every week, if I miss one, then I'll make it up the following week or whatever. But basically with those, it's a Zoom call. We all hop on the Zoom calls. They usually happen around 9 a.m. Eastern, either on a Thursday or Friday. And when we hop on those calls, I have a Facebook post to where everybody that goes into their group, they put their channel there and they ask for very specific feedback. And then I go in and based on the feedback that they want, I will go and I will look at the channel from the outside, and then I'll give them a bunch of, tips and things that they can do to improve. And I just kind of look for holes in what it is that they're doing. So that's the place that we do that. not here. And the reason for that is because typically, when we do those types of things here, people start to leave. So because of that, I just stopped doing them. Every now and then, like, because at the end of the stream, sometimes we do like a chill mode. And then after that chill mode, sometimes I'll pull up like a channel or two as well. And then other times I don't. But there's also that option as well. Science-Based Fitness says, hey, Nick, happy Thanksgiving. Just passed 400 subscribers and still having fun. Thanks for the help. High five and fist bump to you for another milestone. Love seeing that. Love seeing those milestones come through. Let's see here. It says, what is that extension that you have active on your search results page? So one of them is TubeBuddy, which you can find a link to that down in the description below, or just go to tubebuddy.com/Nimmin, and that will take you to TubeBuddy. And with the other tool that you see listed there, that is Keywords Everywhere. There's a nice handful of like browser extensions that you can use for like search engine stuff when it comes to like Google specifically. But Keywords Everywhere, they look at Google and YouTube as well. Let's see here. Simply, Andrew's Auto Repair says, the Resident Evil movie was awful, but my question is, can you tell me the one time that you tried to help someone, but they would not listen or learn? Pretty much every live stream. So basically, I've had clients that I've worked with in the past to where I try to give them, like I'm like, hey, do this. And then, they'll be like, oh, well, I think that this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, from experience, like this is what you need to do. And they just won't do it. And it's like, okay, well, this isn't going to work out because, like that's what you hired me for. So I've definitely had that happen before, but, it more comes from, these live streams and the video content as well, to where, like I have an entire YouTube channel that, if you have the time, cause it's not, put together in like a course format, but through these live streams specifically, just with all the random questions that come out of here, like if somebody takes the time to listen to these live streams on a regular basis and they're not getting improvements, then that comes down to people hearing the advice but not actually applying it, or people hearing the advice but not really understanding it. So because of that, I see that a lot, to where, people will hang out in the live streams a lot, but then, their channels aren't growing. And it will come down to, like, if I look at their channel, I'll see that they're just not doing this stuff, that they just continue doing, just kind of doing things the way that they do them. And because of that, like I definitely see that quite a bit, to where people just don't apply the stuff, because it's easy to listen to it. But then when it comes to actually rolling up your sleeves, digging into your stats, trying to figure out what people are responding to, what they're not, all that good stuff, that's a totally different thing. So because of that, it actually happens here. The Eternal Samurai says, run ads on most daily viewed videos or all of them. I actually wouldn't run ads on any of them unless you can get a really good response organically. And if you get a really good response organically, then you don't need to run ads. So because of that, I would just take that into kind of some food for thought. I'm not sure with your channel here. Let me I'm just going to look at your channel here really quick. Actually, I can just click on it right out of here. Bam. So as of right now, yeah, so I wouldn't even worry about running ads right now. So like with the view counts that you're currently getting, like you need to focus more than anything else. Like ad spend isn't going to get people to click on your videos more. I would focus more than anything else. I would focus on, one, just consistency, and two, I would focus on making content and getting people to click on that content, learning how to do that better. Like you've gotten to 1,000 subscribers, which is great, but the actual view counts that you're getting, I would definitely go for the organic play on this until you can get some momentum. Then I would consider experimenting with ads if that's something that you want to do. Let's see here. Okay, I think that brings us up to date on those, and then we will hop back into the form. Let me check mission control here. Got that one, got that one, got that one. I think, okay. Let's see here. Simply Andrew's Auto Repair says, I think most viewers are loyalists. Collabs help. Collabs definitely are helpful for growing YouTube channels if the audience match, without question. Going through my list here, making sure I got everybody. Exam prep, got that one. Gaming channel, did that one. Okay, so we're up to date. Okay, so now I'm going to hop back into the form, and then we will be coming out of the form and then hopping into the chat for some additional questions. So from the form here, this one's from Normal Mode TV. They do video game reviews, and we did that one already. So let me go to the next question here. So next up, we have Ildrit22 Gaming. Say they do daily content. They do gaming videos. The goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. Question, how can I get 1,000 subscribers as fast as possible? Take the information that we talk about in this live stream, take the information that I talk about in videos, apply it to what it is that you're doing. In addition to that, don't think that YouTube has anything against you, because they don't. Everything is based on performance. So if you put out videos that people respond to in a positive way, YouTube will continue to show those videos to people. If you put out content and people don't respond to it, then YouTube is going to switch, or I won't say switch. They're going to prioritize the content that people respond to over the content that people don't. So if you want to get results on YouTube as fast as humanly possible, you gotta learn how to make content that people respond to. Fortunately, but unfortunately, that typically comes with a learning curve of sorts. And because of that learning curve, it typically takes people, a decent amount of time to actually start getting some momentum, because they have to learn how to do all of the things in terms of writing titles, thumbnails, making content in a way that people respond to it at a high level. So because of that, focus. If you want to get 1,000 subscribers as fast as possible, focus the most on skill development in terms of, learning how to make thumbnails, learning how to write titles, learning how to engage with your viewers, learning how to, just make, good content on the channel. Like, focus your effort on skill development for the first, until you hit 1,000 subscribers, and then double down on skill development to accelerate things. Sport exercise scientists.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Welcome to the Nimminati. Make sure when you get the chance, go to nimminvip.com. That's going to redirect you to our members only Facebook group. Make sure you fill out all the information on the way in, because that's how I verify that you are a member. If you can do that before the stream is complete today, I'll let you into the group as soon as the stream is finished. When we go into chill mode. Detours to Jeff. What's up, dude? Hope that you're doing awesome. Nice to see you in here. Let's see here. Quick question for the chat. Did anybody catch the keyword search platform that he mentioned? The one he mentioned alongside TubeBuddy. So the other one that's on the screen, or that was on the screen, is called Keywords Everywhere. Is the name of it. Love you too, the Keggy. Let's see here. So okay, so we got that. Okay. So next up on our list here, pulling this one from the chat, is from the Drew Project. What's up, Drew? Hope you're doing awesome, man. Says they do music videos. The goal of the channel is to go full time. Says, hey, Nick, first off, look after yourself. My question, I've been premiering my videos, especially the collaboration ones, but I've been wondering if premiering with only a bunch of people, 9 to 15 people usually, is a bad sign of YouTube, and should I stop doing it? So the best way to figure out or to answer that question is to not do premieres. So my thing with premieres is that they are effective, but they're typically the most effective when it's actually like something that is a premiere. Like, if you're premiering every piece of content, then there's nothing really special about the premieres, and there's no real reason that people should show up in a hurry just to, interact in the chat in that situation. So because of that, I would try not doing premieres and just see if you notice a difference. Like, let's say like the next 5 videos that you do, don't do a premiere, and just see how people, just see how the system treats those videos compared to the premieres themselves. Let's see here. Yeah, the premiere is when the creator shows up to chat in there as well. Okay. Begard says his premieres have never worked for his premiere content, because he makes videos about Adobe Premiere. Nice. So let's see here. So next up, we've got, we did Eldritch Gaming already. So go to the next one. We've got GG Cubing. Says they are a Rubik's Cube channel, goals to help others, and what camera do you prefer? I love Sony cameras. I have Canon cameras too. Like, I like them all. I'm not a camera snob. I know like some of the filmmaker channels and stuff, they're like, oh, it's this, that, and color science of this, and this, that, and the other thing. And, they get real technical with it. For me, like, both brands, they get the job done to a level that I'm more than happy with. So because of that, big fan of Sony, big fan of Canon as well. But in this particular setup, I have 1 Canon camera and 1, 2, 3 Sony cameras. And then I've also, in addition to that, got another Sony camera right over there. And sitting right over there. And I've got another one of those Sony cameras sitting right over there as well, if that says anything. Right? If that shares a preference. Next up on our list, We've got, let's see here. Wisco Ted, what's up, man? Says tutorials on easy free tools is the type of channel. And the goal of the channel is to help people and become full-time someday. And the question is, at what point should I create an email list, sign up, and what could I put on there to entice them to sign up? I create videos about tools to help people with, let's see here, different aspects of their videos. Okay, that was just more information. Okay, so basically what you want to do in your particular case is you can put together like a newsletter. You can put together like an actual resource list. So if you're helping people with like information or tools, you can put together like a, you know, these are the tools to get started type of thing. You can put that together and start driving people to the list from that. And in terms of when you should do it, you should do it now as long as you're going to maintain the list. If you're like, yeah, I want to, but I don't know if I can like work it in, then in that case, don't do it yet. Make sure that you start doing it when you can maintain the list. Because if you grow the list, but you're not actually maintaining that list, then that list becomes less and less valuable. So because of that, you want to make sure that you are going to be sending out emails on a regular basis. At the very least, you can do what I do, which is I put up I created a sequence. So when people sign up for the email list, then I share value emails, which is basically like, here's some things that you can do to grow and get better at what it is that you're doing. But then I also share other emails that are like, hey, you know, have you seen TubeBuddy yet? Have you seen Epidemic Sound yet? You know, like those types of things to, you know, spread awareness about those things as well that help creators. Let's see here. Next up on our list, we've got Rana Shia's Space. Says that they do faith and inspiration content, the goal of the channel.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
The goal of the channel is to inspire people and fulfill their purpose while staying true to who they are. The question, I just want to know if you have any tips for getting sponsorships for small channels. I have about 1,000 subbies. Should I just wait until I get more before looking for sponsors? You can look for them now if you want to. But at 1,000 subscribers, you're probably going to have, you know, more of a hurdle. Like you're going to be doing, it's going to be a hard grind, but you might find somebody, but the amount of money that you'll probably make from that is probably going to be relatively low. I actually recommend that you do affiliate marketing instead. So basically when people are looking for sponsorships, people are like, hey, I want to do the sponsorship thing. And I get it. Can be lucrative. However, like if you're just getting started, you know, instead of looking in the direction of sponsorships, you might want to look in the direction of affiliate marketing, because then in that situation, even though you're just getting started, you can still, you know, search target a video. And if that video does well in search, like that one video can end up bringing you, you know, a lot more than you might get in a sponsorship deal. So because of that, especially, you know, if you're not getting a lot of views yet. So because of that, you know, like I would actually recommend that you start looking on the affiliate side of things and look for things that you can promote as an affiliate that you would be promoting as if they were to sponsor you. Just start promoting them as an affiliate, so you can just go ahead and start getting some affiliate income coming in. And so that you can, you know, start trying your hand at positioning those videos in search, so that you can start creating all of these assets over time that end up over your, you know, YouTube career over the next like year or so, that end up adding up to like a substantial amount of, you know, affiliate money coming in compared to limiting yourself to just sponsorships. EQ's, not sure how to say that, gaming channel, goals to get to 100,000 subscribers. How do I make a complete switch in content if I already have an audience based on a different type of content? So what YouTube recommends in this particular situation is that you take a 70-20-10 approach. And what that means is 70% of the content, so that you can make a slow transition into the new stuff. So basically the approach is you do 70% of the content that you can count on, that people, you know, always respond to. You do 20% of the content that has a little bit of crossover, that's like slowly moving you into that other direction. And then you do 10% of content that is just wildly different from what you normally do. And you do those for the sake of, hopefully that one of those will take off, for the sake of, you know, like YouTube finds the right audience for that, which then helps start pulling in those people so that you can end up so you can end up moving in the direction of that audience and then slowly start closing down the other content. That's what YouTube recommends. Let's see here. Next up, we've got CLMC Music. Okay, we did this one already. Questions. Okay. So my name's Karsten. I'm from Germany. I have a music channel, piano and synth, with like 1,900 followers. My question is, I think the content is quite good because I have a like rate of 97%, and all the people that find me think it's awesome. Okay, so with that, you don't want to just look at the likes that you're getting, because that's just kind of like anybody can hit the like button. What you want to look for is you want to look for the audience retention. The audience retention will tell you how people actually feel about your videos, because, it's easy to hit a like button like when the video first starts. It's easy to do that type of thing. It's easy to leave a comment. But what really tells you how people really enjoy your content is your audience retention reports. Let's see here. On TikTok, I've got 1 million views in like 14 days. What am I doing wrong? Is it descriptions, the tags, the thumbnails? Because according to my viewers, it's not the content. So don't listen to what your viewers, listen to what your viewers say, but use the data to really know. Because of course, the people that are going to leave the comments are the people that are going to be more engaged, which means that those particular people are people that enjoyed your stuff. But what you have to think about is you have to think about scale. You have to think about the people that are non-vocal, because those are going to be the people that are interacting with your content the most. So because of that, you use your data that YouTube gives you to help you understand how those people are responding, and the people that leave comments. So somebody can say, hey, this is great, but they still might have only watched, a minute of a 10-minute video, or they might have said, hey, this is the best video ever. You should have 1 million followers, because that's a common comment on YouTube. And, they still might have only watched 2 minutes of a 10-minute video. So because of that, you always want to use your audience retention reports to get an understanding of how people are actually enjoying what it is that you're doing. You also want to make sure that you're looking at your click-through rate, because your click-through rate also tells you your ability to get people to click on what it is that you're doing. You don't want to look at your click-through rate average. You want to make sure that you're looking into your individual traffic sources. So if you're new to YouTube, you don't know what I'm talking about, then what you want to do there is when you go into Andrew Cannon in the house. What's up, man? Hope you're doing great. What you want to do is you want to go into your YouTube Creator Studio. Within your YouTube Creator Studio, you want to click into one of your videos. Then you can go to your Reach tab if you want. And then on your Reach tab, you're going to see like an upside down triangle. And that's called, people call that your performance funnel. It's what they call it at YouTube too. But basically that funnel right there is going to show you a number on your click-through rate. And you don't want to use that number. What you want to do is you actually want to click into advanced mode at the very top of the screen. That's going to take you into an advanced version of your YouTube analytics. Then at the very top menu there, you're going to see traffic sources. You want to click on that. And then once you click on that, then if you see stuff there, then or if you don't see stuff there, then you're going to have to go up in the top right and change it from since published to since uploaded, I think it is the actual language that you want to change it to. And then you'll see everything show up down there in the bottom, or at least to where you can click into it. If it's not highlighted to where you can click into it, that's where you want to make that change as well. But basically, once you click into that, then it's going to show you browse, what's your click-through rate there, suggested videos, what's your click-through rate there, what's your average view duration there, search, what's your click-through rate there. And you want to start pulling your information from there to help you get an understanding of how people are responding to your content from those different sources. And also, so you can start to think about, okay, if somebody's clicking on this from suggested, then I'm really pulling their attention here. If somebody's clicking on it from home, I'm really pulling from their attention there. If I'm pulling them from search, well, they're looking for me there. So, it's a little bit easier to get their attention there. But if I'm pulling their attention from browse and I'm doing that at a high rate, then I'm winning. But if I'm doing that at a low rate, then I need to really start working on my packaging and how I'm actually pulling people into the content. Fit Dad Chris, hope that you also had a fantastic Turkey Day. Let's see here. Kitty says we need a special stream looking at just analytics. Yeah, I might do that in the members group because I think that would be, more valuable there. Like I could do it here too, but I think that would be something more for the member side of things, just for the sake of, just because like everybody could use the information, but over there, you guys are the most likely to, take that information and run with it. Compared to, it just being on the channel itself. Let's see here. So next up, we've got Human City Junction. Says they do bi-weekly content. The type of channel is model railroading in small spaces. And the goal of the channel says anyone can be a model railroader. You do not need a lot of space. And the question is, I use a 10-minute slideshow with countdown timer on my streams. Do you recommend them? I start the countdown 8 minutes before the hour, and I start 2 minutes after the hour. Nope. I really recommend that you do not use that. Feel free to test it, but I really recommend that you do not use the countdown timer, that you instead just schedule your stream in advance. If you schedule your stream in advance, that is like a long-term countdown timer, essentially, because YouTube is telling people, this is when the stream's going live, right? So when people use the countdown timers, their logic for those countdown timers is, well, sure, the stream was scheduled. People knew that the stream was coming, but that countdown timer also gives YouTube time to, send out notifications and things like that. But the fail point of that is that when you go live, one, especially if you scheduled your stream, when you go live, then, those recommendations are going to be going out. However, during your live stream, people are going to be coming and going anyway. So it doesn't matter. Like if you have that countdown timer, then what's going to happen there is people, there are going to be some people that will, come in and wait for that. But just like you see here, before I go live, I've also got a bunch of people here in this live stream that are waiting as well, just because it was scheduled and they know it's going to be live. So the best thing that you can do in your case is stream at a regular time, right? If you do it once a week or twice a week or once a month, whenever it is, schedule it and stick to it on a regular basis so that your community starts to, over time, know that you stream on that day and time. And then when you start your stream, just go. And when you are scheduling your stream, just give it enough advance so that people can know that you're going to be streaming. So for example, if you don't have a large audience that would see that stream, that schedule, if you were to schedule like an hour ahead of time, then in that case, schedule it, like a few days ahead of time so that you make sure that people, have that amount of time that they know that you're going to be streaming so that they can come into that. But yeah, I absolutely recommend that you do not use the countdown timers. Let's see here. So next up, we've got, and hold on, let me refresh this page really quick. I just want to make sure that that I'm caught up with everybody. On that, scroll down, and okay. So ARF World,
Super
that I overlooked
chat.
here 7 minutes ago, says, if I'm getting more return viewers than new viewers, will my channel stop growing? When will YouTube push to new viewers again? Thanks for the help. So YouTube will push to new viewers when new viewers, people that haven't interacted with that particular video or your channel, whatever, when they start responding to your content in terms of clicking on it. So when you're publishing videos to YouTube, like the first people that are going to see it are the people that are, that the system's predicting are the most likely to enjoy it. And based on how those people respond to it is going to, be the determining factor for how that video is going to perform at the time of publish. It doesn't necessarily reflect long-term performance, but it means at the time of publish, that's going to determine if that video is going to get a lot of views quickly or if it's going to take time to accumulate or if it's just not going to get views at all. So when it comes to you getting more return viewers than new viewers, that doesn't mean that your channel is going to stop growing as long as you are continuing to get new viewers. So let's say that you have 100 people that are regularly coming back to your YouTube channel, but YouTube is still showing 50 people. And I'm just doing this for easy math. YouTube is still showing 50 people or 20 people, new people, your channel, then that's 20 chances that you have to, win those people as regular viewers. So then that will come down to the performance of the content and if those people will want to come back or not. So as long as you have some new people interacting with your content, then you have some chance of your channel growing in terms of subscribers and continuing to grow your view counts over time. The problem is if it's only people that are already involved in your content that are interacting with it. And of course, the more that the scale slides towards people that have not interacted with your content before to where it's all new viewers, that's where that rapid growth starts coming in. Because then in that case, well, actually the real growth is like when it's like, hey, my subscribers are loving this, new people are loving this, like to where it's all balanced. Like that's where like the skyrocket happens. But like in terms of just rapid growth in general though, when you have more new viewers at scale, then that's where, more rapid growth happens because then that's more people that you can actually convert. But in terms of, YouTube, promoting or pushing the content, that comes down to, how the videos themselves actually perform. So if new people, like if your core audience enjoys it, then YouTube's going to test it against more people. If those people enjoy it or they click on it and enjoy the content, then it's going to suggest it to more new people. And some of your, current people that have already, been involved with the channel. So the idea is performance. That's what everybody has to focus on. There's a lot within that. But, at the end of the day, it comes down to you have to learn how to get people to click on your content, how to come up with topics, how to make videos about things that people care about, how to get them to click on it, and how to get them to enjoy the content. And there's tons of nuance within all of that, but those are the things that you have to learn how to do. Shark Scrapper, next on our list, says they do edutainment content, and the goal of the channel is it's part part of the larger business strategy. And the question is, do you have any details on the most recent announcement to limit the number of thumbnails a channel can upload? So yes, so basically with that, YouTube is going to start limiting the amount of, content creators will just swap thumbnails out like crazy until they, get something that works in some cases. So because of that, YouTube is actually going to limit people's ability to do that. So you're still going to be able to do like A/B testing, like that kind of stuff, because it's not swapping for every single viewer. So it's not a big deal. It's just like, one day it's this, one day it's that type of thing. But in terms of them limiting it, it's just going to limit people from just going in and just changing the thumbnail every, 10 minutes, once an hour, like that type of thing. Okay, so I want to pull some questions out of the chat for those of you that happen to like get here late, or like if you're just joining the stream, something like that, just to make sure that I can kind of just have a broad way to kind of serve as many people as possible here. So so because of that, if you have a question about what it is that you're doing on YouTube, if you got a question for me, put a Q in front of your question so I know it's for me. And then just go ahead and drop it in the chat right now. And then I'm just going to pull some of these out of the chat, so we can also get some of your questions answered as well. And as I'm waiting for those to come in, I'm going to pull another. Oh no, we got one coming in right here. Okay. So the very first one, waiting for this to actually show up on my screen. There we go. Says, if I start creating, and we're going to go through kind of like a lightning round of these here. So let's see here. Let's go into here. Let's turn this off, and then we're going to go here. So Drew Project says, if I start creating playlists from a different channel for my content on this channel, would that be the same as doing it from this one? Start creating playlists from a different channel. Okay. So basically what he's asking is his channel, Drew Project, if he creates playlists there, and then he has another YouTube channel to where it's just some random channel, and maybe he names the channel. Maybe he names the channel something like, Best Cover Music is the name of the channel. And then on that YouTube channel, let's say in theory, he starts making playlists of other people's content mixed with his content. Is that a good approach? So you can absolutely do that. It's not necessarily the same thing as doing it on your own. Because if you do it on your own channel, then of course, if somebody's watching that playlist, there is something within that playlist that has, that can have a link back to you. So that would be the win in that particular situation of having it on your channel. But if you do have it on that other channel in terms of just kind of intermingling the content and just regularly adding to playlists and that whole thing, so that you can, take advantage of the, YouTube search when it comes to playlists. Then in that particular case, you can absolutely do that on another channel if you don't want to, do it on yours. But the difference is just that road that leads back to your channel if you do it on your channel. But then you do fill your playlist page up with, a mixture of content, but there's gains to be had with that. Any special tips for gaming thumbnails? Absolutely. Focus on, like if if you're a gamer playing a specific game, you already know the imagery that you would respond to if you just sit back and think about it for a few minutes. So when you are putting your thumbnails together, just think of it from your own perspective, because you enjoy that game enough that you're willing to make videos or live stream for it on YouTube. So because of that, just sit back and think to yourself, if my thumbnail, if it wasn't mine and my thumbnail were to show up on YouTube's homepage when I logged in to watch Nick's live stream on Saturday, what would I have to do to this thumbnail to, one, help me recognize that it's for me, and then for the thumbnail and title combination, because it's always important to remember that they work together as a team to win the click. So with that thumbnail and title combination, what about that? If I were to see this, if my homepage loaded on a Saturday at 9 a.m., I show up to Nick's live stream, or I'm logging onto YouTube to hang out in the live stream, and on my homepage, I see Nick's live stream here, and then I see this thumbnail and title combination over here. What could I do with this thumbnail and title combination? Being a gamer that loves this game, what could I do that would grab my attention and help me identify that this was for me? And then what could I do with the title that would be so compelling or so interesting to me as somebody that's into this game that even though I logged onto YouTube to hang out in Nick's live stream, it would pull me away from Nick's live stream and make me want to click on that. That's what you want to think about when you're making your thumbnails and titles. Is you want to think about those people that are logging onto YouTube and they're having all this stuff presented on their home screen, or they're just scrolling through their home feed, right? You want to think about those people and how you can get those people to respond to what it is that you're doing. So, but you love the game. You love it so much that you're making videos on and live streaming on YouTube about it. So use that and think to yourself, how could I get me to respond to this if it was somebody else's content? Renee, I did. Yeah, absolutely saw that. You're saying that you would like to complain to this loudly. So all they're doing, they're limiting it. Like, you're still going to be able to test your thumbnails and things like that. It's just not, you're just not going to be able to just swap them out like crazy. So, so you're still going to be able to, change thumbnails and all that. It's just not going to be something to where you're going to be able to go in there and change it, like a bunch of times, over and over again. Because a lot of people will do that. Like, they'll just make a bunch of thumbnails and they'll just sit there and swap them out, or they'll have staff swap them out in order to, figure out what works the best. So I think that type of thing is what they're trying to limit. Let's see here. Okay, this keeps me company while I put up my Christmas decorations. Nice. Let's see here. When doing edits in the YouTube studio, is there a reason that a video will show in the back office is edited a certain way, but will be matching the audio with video for the outside viewer? So that happens while it's processing. So if it's processing, then that's what's going on. But once it's processed, then you shouldn't run into that problem. There are benchmarks when it comes to CTR and the different traffic sources, but it's going to be dependent on your content. So that's why I was talking before about for Will Star's channel, because he has a piece of content on his channel now that's performed well. So since he has that piece of content on his channel that's performed well, now he has information that shows him, like, this is what performance looks like. So what you want to look for across your channel is you want to look for the content that's performed the best so far, and you want to use those as benchmarks against the impressions. So basically, when it comes to your CTR, you want to go and you want to look at how many impressions that you're getting on the videos and the different traffic sources on your high performing content, and you want to start to figure out a baseline and say, okay, typically when my videos have about this, amount of impressions on them, typically my click-through rate is about this. And then by doing that, that's going to help you start identifying, like, hey, with this amount of impressions with this particular video, my click-through rate is much higher. With this amount of impressions on this video, my click-through rate is much lower. And then that's where you got to start thinking about it too. Like, okay, is it lower because of the thumbnail? Is it lower because of the title? Is it lower because this particular topic isn't as popular, right? But anyway, you want to basically build those baselines out by just noticing on your current content, even if your best video has like 500 views on it, that particular video shows you, like, okay, well, for 500 views, of course, there's a lot of other variables that contribute to that, but you also just want to look at that and you want to say, okay, the video with just the highest click-through rate on my channel compared to the amount of impressions. Like, for those videos, like, what are the amount of impressions compared to the click-through rate that I'm getting for the different sources? And when you want to just start figuring out what performance looks like on the channel, so that you can start using that as your baseline to build on top of. So, like, an example of this, just to kind of put this into perspective in terms of how big of a difference that your click-through rate can make. There was a cooking channel that reached out to me on Twitter. They're like, hey, Nick, man, I need help. And in those situations, this channel, they have like several million subscribers on the YouTube channel. And they just kind of reached a point where, things have just kind of stagnated on their channel. And they're like, hey, I need help. So I'm like, okay, give me access to the channel. I'll go in, take a look on it. We'll hop on a call and see, if we can kind of figure out what's going on. And the performance on their channel, like all of the recent stuff that they're doing, they're just not getting the click-through. Video performance, all of that, everything is the same. But their click-through rate, it's just not there. Compared to the stuff that performs. So like they've got like one video on their channel, it's got like 11 million views. Another one's got like, 8 million views, 9 million views, that kind of stuff. So they historically have, these high performing pieces of content. So I took that creator in and I showed them on the call. I'm like, okay, if we look at this, like if you see the difference here, video performance, everything is, similar in terms of everything else that's going on. But the difference between the click-through rate on this one with 11 million views, it had, I think it was like 40, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was like tens of millions of impressions on it. And at that point in time in browse, it was still holding, I think it was like 40, I can't remember off the top of my head, but in browse, it was holding like a 13% click-through rate with like tens of millions of views on it. And like his new stuff with like not even like 2 million impressions would have like a 2% click-through rate. So it's like, here, this is your problem, right? So you have, like in that particular case, the topic of course is important. But the difference in terms of, why his videos were performing before, but they're not now, was just crystal clear once I was able to go in and show him the, show him the data behind it. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on Vlogmas to grow a channel? I'll be honest with you when it comes to Vlogmas. So with and I made a video about this too. So those types of things can be great for getting experience, right? Like, hey, okay, I'm making this challenge to myself. And I'll be honest. So Kitty is actually here in the chat right now. And she actually kind of updated my perspective on this because I'm always thinking like from the performance side of things, like that's just where my brain is. But one of the things just in a conversation with Kitty that she, made me think about was the like, hey, this is a challenge. And this also, kind of, helps people actually develop the skills behind making content quickly and, learning how to make quality content quickly and things like that. So, from that conversation, on the performance side, I would never participate in a Vlogmas, in a vlog every day in April, or a live every day in whatever, or like I would never participate in that from a performance perspective. However, if you're new and you're like, hey, I want to challenge myself and see what I'm capable of, then in that case, doing something like that, like a 30-day challenge is fantastic. If you're like, hey, I'm going to use this as a way to learn how to make content faster, to optimize my workflow over the next 30 days by, making myself make these videos, then in that case, it's great because then you're working on skill development. However, when you're doing it to grow a channel from the performance side of things, don't do it during Vlogmas. Everybody's doing it during Vlogmas. Instead, do it when nobody else is doing it. So like if everybody's doing Vlogmas, then what you should do is in January, let me make some disclaimers here too. The reason that people do that for Vlogmas is because during that particular time, there's also a higher amount of ads being served on YouTube. And so it's kind of like a cash grab because then, ad rates are higher, CPMs are higher, RPMs are higher, all of that stuff around the holidays. So therefore that 30-day stretch is hey, since we're doing this 30-day stretch into Christmas, then I'm taking advantage of this higher CPMs. Therefore, my cash out on the back end of this is probably going to be better than it would have if I didn't do this. But on the performance side, if you're going to participate in a 30-day challenge, you're going to challenge yourself. I recommend that you do it on a month when everybody else isn't doing it, unless you're doing it as part of a group and you're doing it as part of that group so that you can be supported through that process. If you're doing it as part of that group so that you can be supported through that process, which is part of, the new insights that I got from Kitty during that conversation that we had. But if you're doing it for that support through that process, then in that particular case, go for it. But if you are doing it just for the challenge of yourself and just seeing if you can do it and uploading videos in mass, what I would do, I would make the content maybe in Vlogmas, but I wouldn't publish it until like January when everybody's exhausted from doing Vlogmas and there's this huge gap in content for people to watch because there's this huge influx of content during Vlogmas. And then if all of that competition is happening in Vlogmas, then in that particular case, like I wouldn't participate in that. But in January or maybe in November, a 30-day challenge during that period of time, that's when I would do it. So then that way I'm increasing my upload schedule when everybody else is like, okay, now I'm going to, kind of slow things down again. Now I'm going to, kind of take it easy because I just exhausted myself and burned myself out during Vlogmas. Then in that particular case, that's where I would take it up on the back end of that to kind of fill that gap of everybody else taking it easy. The Keggy says, Mr. Beast's latest video got 75 million views in 2 days. How is that possible? One, Mr. Beast makes amazing videos. He knows what he's doing. That's why he's one of the fastest growing creators on the platform. In addition to that, he also tapped into a very popular thing, which is Squid Game. So that's going to help. In addition to that, he also did it in a very epic way. So he literally recreated sets of Squid Game in order to make that video happen. So because of that, everything that he did was epic. And it was very strategic in terms of tapping into the popularity of Squid Game. And because of that, people also, just like they always do to his content, because he knows what he's doing, they responded to his content at a very high rate. And since they responded at a very high rate, YouTube just continues to show it to people. In addition to that, the shareability of that particular video is through the roof, because if you've never seen Mr. Beast before, and I watched that Squid Game video and you're a friend of mine and I know that you're into Squid Game, I would share that video with you and I would say something like, hey, check this out. This dude just recreated all of Squid Game stuff. You got to check out this video. And then I would share it with him, right? So because of that, that's why that video got 75 million views in 2 days. Let's see here. Yeah, Renee Ritchie just said here, music videos get 10 million views in an hour, so the audience is there. Jimmy's just figuring out how to do it for non-music spectacle content. Go Jimmy, absolutely. That's a great way to put that. Okay, so I'm going to skip down here. Any tips for growing a channel on just upcoming games? Absolutely. Reach out to all of the different game developers and stay in constant contact with them about games that are coming out, so that you can make sure that you're putting that content out, you're building up hype for it, and that you can make sure that you are on the inside of that. Make sure that also, as the games are coming out, that you're also publishing content on those games as they're coming out. So if they're popular games, so that you can ride the trends on those games, but also use that as a way to pull people into your channel so that they know that you are, an insider, so to speak, when it comes to what's going on in the gaming world. Should I collab frequently or after a long time? Collaborations are great for growing YouTube channels as long as the audience overlap is good. So if you're making cooking videos, somebody else is making cooking videos, you do a collaboration, perfect fit. If you're making cooking videos, somebody else is doing rock climbing videos, not a great fit. So just as long as the audience overlap is there, then absolutely collaborations are fantastic. Let's see here. Question. Posted my first video, only 5 views. Obviously, what would you say to keep the motivation up? I want to grow, but this is all new to me and I don't want to feel pessimistic. Okay. I love this question because you are entering a phase that a lot of YouTube content creators go through. And that phase is, I'm putting in all this work. Is this worth it? Is this going to pay off for me with all this work that I'm putting into it? And how do I keep it up? Like, how do I keep this thing going if this is something that I want to do? So when it comes to keeping up the motivation, the very first thing is to understand that you are at the very beginning part of the process. So growing a YouTube channel is a process, right? Audience development is a process. You're going through the process of developing an audience, right? Growing an audience. So because of that, there's skills that you need to get in place. There's things that you need to learn about your audience. There's things that you need to learn about how the people that are interacting with your content, once your views start going up, that the people that are interacting your content, you need to learn how they're interacting with it so that you can modify things if need be, and in order to get people to respond in a better way to what it is that you're doing when they are interacting with your content as well. So the most important part of keeping the motivation up is, one, knowing that you are at the very beginning part of the process and that there is a learning curve. So a perspective on this that I like to share is, if you just started playing basketball, you're gonna get the ball. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna learn how to dribble the ball, right? You're not gonna just be dunking right out of the gate. You're not gonna be sinking from the 3-point line, right out of the gate. You're not gonna, from the free throw line, you're not gonna be sinking those out of the gate. First, you got to learn how to dribble the ball. Second, you got to learn how to, actually, toss it into the basket, all that good stuff. So when it comes to YouTube, you're in that, you're just learning how to dribble the ball right now, right? So get that part down and learn, hey, this is, I'm learning how to use the system. I uploaded my first video. Now I know what the upload process is like. So because of that, you just bought a basketball, right? So now you got to learn how to dribble that basketball. And by dribbling that basketball, what I mean, now you got to learn how to make titles. You got to learn how to make thumbnails. You got to learn how to put videos together. You got to learn how to get your lighting if you're on camera. You got to learn how to get your audio right if you're on camera. You got to learn how to, just come up with video ideas on a regular basis. All of these things you got to learn how to do as a new content creator. So there's that. So know where you're at in the process. The next thing is attach a goal to what it is that you're doing. That is not, you can have view goals. You can have subscriber goals. That's perfectly fine. But the emotions that go along with attaching your goals to that can be pretty unhealthy. So because of that, I would also create a purpose or a goal that is beyond view counts and subscriber counts. That is going to be the thing that when you don't want to make videos, that you will lean on that particular thing in order to see it through and make videos anyway. That's going to be the thing to where if you're like, you know what, I just don't feel like doing this today, that purpose is going to be the thing. It's going to be like, you know what, I don't feel like doing this today, but let me figure out, let me move around a little bit. Let me jump up and down. Let me go on a walk, get some breathing going. Let me, use that period of time to kind of get myself amped up, because as soon as I walk back in the door, I'm going to sit down in front of the camera and make a video. Right. But basically, put a purpose or a goal, or both behind what it is that you're doing. That by itself can be motivating. But just try not to attach that to views and subscriber counts. Have view count goals, have subscriber count goals, but focus it most on something that isn't directly attached to views and subscribers.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Brian D. Johnson says skills for subs. Absolutely. Always. So here, do you have any tips to easily share videos with an editor? I've been using Google Drive, but the upload speed is slow. Yeah, Dropbox is better. The reason Dropbox is better is because Dropbox doesn't split things into different zip files and all that good stuff like Google Drive does, so it's just easier to manage. In addition to that, you also have services like Frame.io or Oslo, where you can also upload content back and forth as well. They're paid services, but they will help you get the job done. So, Dropbox is great for that. And Oslo and Frame.io are all fantastic resources for that. And if you are working with an editor, if you use Oslo or Frame.io, one of the things that they are going to be able to do there is they're going to be able to upload your project or your finished video or your draft into there. And then if they want to, or if you want to, then you can go in, you can actually, add notes in the timeline of the video. You can actually mark on the screen to where you can add clarity. So for example, if you're like, hey, this area back here is like way too dark, you can literally circle that right on your screen. I've got a video on Oslo on my YouTube channel. If you just look for Nick Nimmin Oslo on YouTube, in YouTube search, then that video will pop up. But that's also a good choice for that. Let's see here. Do videos embedded in other personal websites count towards YouTube view counts? They do, as long as they're not on autoplay. If you have it set up to where they're on autoplay, then it doesn't count. But as long as it's not set to autoplay, then they do count. Let's see here. Do I have 1,000 subs to go live or get an affiliate program? So for the affiliate program, that's going to come down to each individual place that you try to sign up as an affiliate. Some places will just approve you right out of the gate without having to do anything. Other places will actually have you submit like a website or a YouTube channel or whatever the thing is. So because of that, if you are trying to make sure that you are going to get approved, then you can, like, this is a skill set thing, but like if you're trying to make sure you get approved, you might also want to get like a domain name, build like a little like blog or website or something like that, to where you can also show them like, hey, I've got this website that I also have, and kind of use that as your foot in the door to get approved. Because sometimes just a YouTube channel doesn't do the trick. So if you do find yourself getting denied a lot, make a website, and then you'll be able to get in. But for going live, you can go live basically once you set up your account and verify it. In terms of the 1,000 subscriber thing on a phone, if you're on an Android, I think you can do that with like 50 now. And if you are on an iPhone, I think you still might need 1,000 for that, unless you use a third-party app. If you use a third-party app, then you can do it pretty much right after you start your YouTube channel. Have you ever had a strike on your channel? I got my first one. Will a 7-day suspension affect my channel? I uploaded videos about once every 2 or 3 days. So yeah, so I had I've actually had 2, I'll call them events, happen on this YouTube channel. So on this channel, I had one copyright claim on a channel that came from a live stream where somebody else gave me a trailer to show for something they were promoting, and I played that, and it was fine. The stream was unlisted, and all that good stuff. And then like 2 years later, I got a copyright claim, no big deal, and because it's a claim, not a strike. And then I had a community guidelines strike on my channel from a video that I uploaded showing people how to download thumbnails. And that was before you could just click inside of YouTube and download it. You had to actually go into the code and all of that. And I made it clear, in that video that, I said that, thumbnails are also copyright protected work. So you don't want to download other people's stuff. This is just for you, blah, blah, blah. But I screwed up at the very beginning of the video. I literally started the video in the dark. You could hear crickets in the background. I actually added sound effects so you could hear crickets. I'm wearing a ski mask, right? And I'm like, I'm going to show you how to download anybody's thumbnail from YouTube. It was like how I started it. So I made the mistake there. But anyway, that got reported or whatever. And I ended up getting the community guideline strike because of it. However, at that point in time, through, you know, connections, Andrew Can, I think actually he might still be here in the chat. I'm not sure. But basically he had somebody that he knew at YouTube who was a trusted flagger at the time, because at that point in time, they're actually pretty hard to track down. Now it's easier, but at that point in time, he actually got me in contact with his trusted flagger, and then I was able to plead my case there, and then they went and looked at it on their end, and they kind of escalated the thing into, you know, the backside of YouTube, and then they ended up getting the whole thing removed, and my video got published back on the channel and all that. I deleted it anyway because I didn't want it to, you know, come back at me. But we ended up being able to get that particular claim or strike completely removed from the channel, almost like it never happened. But in terms of your 7-day suspension affect the channel, you'll be fine. So basically, you know, as long as you don't get, you know, 2 more strikes in the next 90 days, and you continue to just put out good content that people respond to positively, then you'll be fine. Natural Japanese with a cane says, some of my videos have average percentage viewed of more than 2,000% and are actually viewed at only about 150, and some of them have 60% average view duration and 900 views. So which set of videos is performing better? So the average percent viewed, that 2,000%, that's a little bit weird. I'm not sure how you would even get that. I mean, if people are like responding or they're or rewinding or they're watching it like over and over again, sure. But I mean, that's a pretty substantial, I've never seen that. I've looked at, I can't even count how many, you know, videos that I've looked at in terms of the stats. And I've never seen anything remotely close to that. So I'm not sure what's going on there, unless it's like a looped short or something. But in terms of the 60% average view duration, that particular one, I could see that one probably performing, you know, fairly, I guess. But, you know, your click-through rate is also going to matter. You know, the overall just engagement in terms of if YouTube is deeming it as a satisfactory experience or not, with everything else that they also calculate. So, you know, really hard to tell without actually looking at your stats. Let's see here. For what reasons do you recommend YouTube over blogging? Well, one is that video content, if you are trying to connect with your audience, like nothing can connect you, nothing virtual can connect you with another human more than a actual, you know, like video. So, you know, like if you look at like conference calls, you know, Zoom, you know, things like that. Like there's a reason that during the pandemic that Zoom went through the roof instead of like just a chat app, right? So, I mean, some of the chat apps blew up too, but in terms of, you know, like the thing that really took off, it was like Zoom and live streaming, all that good stuff, way more than just like chat apps where people are just sitting there talking. And the reason for that is because people need that, you know, they need that human connection. And a lot of people find that connection on YouTube. And, you know, like when you're watching YouTube videos, like if you read a blog, and of course I know that, you know, like personality can come out through, you know, in written form, especially if you're a really good copywriter. But when it comes to video, people really get to know the nuances of the content creator, and people really get to relate to the content creator, and people get to connect with the content creator versus it being in a blog, which is a much harder connection to make. So because of that, YouTube wins there. And there's another thing, like if you want to go deeper down that rabbit hole, there's something called parasocial relationships or parasocial interaction. I really highly recommend that you look into that as well. It just kind of explains that whole thing, you know, a little bit deeper. But basically, in addition to that, when it comes to a blog, if you write a blog and you are trying to get that blog to show up in search, unless you already have like an authority blog, if you make a post right now, the likelihood of that showing up at the very top of search results is going to be pretty low, especially if you're just starting the blog. However, if I make a YouTube video right now and I optimize that video for search, that video can show up. And I actually have screenshots of this. Like I've had videos show up at the very top of YouTube search and the very top of Google search within minutes of publishing the video. So since video results do show up on Google, Yahoo, Bing, you know, all those other, you know, all the other textual search engines as well that show video results for the specific things that people are looking for, you can have, you know, your videos show up like right after you publish a video. So instead of waiting, you know, 3 months on a blog post, You can have it. You can just have it show up right now, and by publishing a YouTube video. So because of that, that's a pretty extreme difference between the two. The other side of that coin, it's easy to blog. Like with blogging, you write your articles, you source the text. It's an easy thing to do. If you can type on a keyboard, you can write a blog, right? Of course, communicating through written form is an art, and I understand that. But the process in terms of like anybody here can start a blog, right? When it comes to video, anybody here can start a video or can start making videos, but to make good videos or to make videos that are just even like sort of competitive, pretty easy to do in a blog. But when it comes to video content, it's a totally different game. So it is harder on YouTube, but the rewards that you can get from YouTube is also pretty substantial. Another thing as well for a win for the blog is you own the blog. When it comes to your YouTube content, if you mess up, if you don't know what you're doing in terms of, the terms of service with YouTube and things like that, then, you can make mistakes. Like, the comment that we just answered about the copyright strike. You can make mistakes, and that can cause all the work that you put into your YouTube channel to get flushed down the toilet. So, you're renting space here. This, for lack of a better way to say it, you're renting space on YouTube to where you own your blog. So, there's those differences as well. So what I recommend is if you're trying to grow your influence online through just in general, if you're trying to grow an online brand, if you have a blog, in my opinion, you should also have a YouTube channel for it, because then that way you can use your YouTube channel to filter traffic to your blog and vice versa. So then you start creating, more of a, just media in general, instead of just limiting, you create, a brand, an online brand, instead of just limiting yourself to this little corner of the internet where you are just functioning as a blog. Let's see here. Any advice for reading analytics for newly monetized channel? Thanks for your help to get me monetized yesterday. High five and fist bump to you. Nice work for getting into the partner program. Woo! Nice work. So in terms of reading your analytics, the very first thing I recommend is the YouTube Creator Academy has some information on your analytics. I know Roberto Blake has like a 5-hour live stream on analytics, but the very first thing that I recommend is the things that you got to focus on right out of the gate, the most important things: audience retention, and your audience retention reports for each individual video, your click-through rate for each individual video, the complete rate, which also comes as part of your audience retention, but your complete rate at each video, your in-screen click-through rate for each video as well, and the people that are returning back to your YouTube channel. Those are the things that you should be focusing on right out of the gate. Depending on what it is that you're doing with your YouTube channel, if you're using it for business, then of course you want to make sure that you're also paying attention to your demographics and where it is people are watching your content from, because some countries are some locations on the planet are more qualified to make purchases than others, just based on payment systems and banking and all of that good stuff. So because of that, if you're using it for business, you also want to make sure that you are paying attention to where your views are coming from as well. Your thumbnails can be the same for consistency, but I recommend against that, because then what you're doing, if you just use one template over and over again, is you might not necessarily be using the right template that people are responding to at a high rate. So because of that, you should definitely use different thumbnails, because with different thumbnails, one, that helps you focus in on what the viewer cares about with your video instead of just taking the shortcut of using the templates. And you want to make sure that you do just keep testing your thumbnails so that you can make sure that you keep growing in terms of the response that you are getting from the thumbnails that you are using. Hey, Neil. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing great. Let's see here. Looking for more questions. Let's see here. Looking for that cue. Hey, my pleasure. Okay, Wolf Spirit says, new name here, formerly Land Reese. I'm focusing on my target market as I've had success with this on Facebook. Can I focus on my audience on YouTube, or is failing to niche killing my potential? I would definitely niche down on YouTube, and when you're niching down, think of niching down more as I'm making content for a specific type of person. I'm trying to reach people that are into this particular subject. And then any content that you want to make that's based around that particular audience, go for it. If the content that you're wanting to make isn't a perfect fit for that audience, then in that particular case, I would definitely consider shelving that content or just prioritizing other content that is a great fit for that audience. How can I make narrow specific topics? My niche is 40-year-old corporates who want to quit. I posted weekly for 3 years now and talk mindset, steps, motivation, but too broad. not breaking through is frustration. Yeah. So when it comes to if you're making narrow specific topics, then if you are reaching 40-year-olds that want to quit, then in that particular case, just anything related to them, either, early retirement information, anything like that, you just need to come up with ideas that resonate with that particular audience. Now, you've been doing weekly content for 3 years now, and you're talking about mindset, steps, motivation, and you're asking if it's too broad. Well, if the 40-year-old corporates, like I watch motivational content, so motivational content might work for them. Mindset stuff, if they're wanting to quit their job, that might be part of it. But instead of just talking about, like mindset, motivation, those are all like, kind of theoretical or philosophical type things. You do have steps in here, but, you might want to just lean on like actionable help content to help people actually go through the process of learning how they can quit their jobs. So, so as long as I'm understanding your question properly, like you might want to do less mindset and motivation and more on like, hey, these are actual things that you can do to, set yourself up to be able to quit your job. Like focusing on that type of stuff might be the stuff that you want to focus on more. And also make sure as well that, what it is that you're doing, that you're also illustrating it in the best possible way that you can. Because, when people are making that type of content, typically they try to take like a lifestyle approach to where it's like, hey, here's me on the beach, or here's me doing this and this, that, and the other thing. To where, at the end of the day, the person looking for that content might not necessarily, you do want to, show that reflection of like, hey, I was able to quit my job and now I'm doing this. So you do want to be able to illustrate that. However, they might just be coming looking for solutions and looking for help. So if you can give them that help, that might be the thing that's going to help you break through. But what you want to do, YouTube has in your YouTube analytics, you're going to see if you go into advanced mode, if you click on your channel name, once you're in advanced mode, you're going to see an area that says groups. You're going to see a little tab in a box that pops up, says groups. So what I would do is I would put your motivational content into one group. I'd put your mindset content into another group. I would put your steps content into another group. And then within that, you're going to be able to go and you're going to be able to see which ones drive more ad revenue. You're going to be able to see which ones have a higher click-through rate as a group. You're going to be able to see which ones get a higher view duration per group. You're going to see which ones have just caused the channel to perform better as a group, that kind of stuff. And then that's going to start to tell you just as a content set, what it is that people are responding to most on your channel. So you can make sure that you're doubling down on the stuff that people enjoy the most and that you do less of the stuff that people aren't enjoying as much. So you use your grouping feature for that. In addition to that, let's see here, where are we at here? So, so we've got the steps broken down. We've got that broad. Oh, in addition to that, make sure that when it comes to breaking through, the breaking through and actually getting momentum on the channel, that is only going to happen through video performance. So if you're not breaking through, it can come down to the specific topics, but it can also come down to like your topics. You might be nailing it, but you might be underperforming in your click-through rate. You might be underperforming in the, how many people are completing your videos or how many people are clicking into more of your content, that type of thing. So you might be coming in low on those things to where your topics might be okay. So because of that, I would do the grouping thing I was talking about, but I would also dig into the actual content itself and see how the content is performing in terms of audience retention. Like how far are people making it in your videos? Are you having a high complete rate of your videos? Like are a lot of people making it to the end of your videos? Go look at how many people are clicking on your end screens as well. You can see all that stuff in your analytics for each individual video so that you can start trying to uncover why the content isn't performing. Because yes, making content for a niche is important, but at the end of the day, even if you're making content for a niche, if people aren't responding to that content at a high rate, or at least at a competitive rate, then you're not going to break through. So you have to get the content to a place. And sometimes it can take a while, like in your case, if it's taken 3 years, like I would double down on digging into my analytics to figure out how people are responding, to figure it out. Like maybe I need to put out a different format. Like maybe you're sitting there and you're talking like I am in your content. Maybe instead of doing that, you need to just show more, of like B-roll, or show more like screen shared, or where you're just kind of small down in the corner, taking people through whatever it is that you're showing them. Maybe if you are doing your content in a way to where, you're sitting here, talking, maybe in that particular case, instead of just sitting here talking, maybe you need to just do a list instead of it's like, okay, so this is some things that you need to do to stay motivated. That would be, one approach, but maybe of like, hey, these are 10 things that will help you stay motivated. When you're trying to, quit your job, or 10 things that'll keep you focused on quitting your job. Then in that case, you go through like a listicle format and see if that holds people for a longer period of time. But basically what you got to do is you need to go into your stats, because that's going to show you your fail points. So you need to go in there and make sure that the content and the way that people are responding from the outside in terms of your packaging, topic, title, and thumbnail, you need to go and look at your click-through rate there just to see if that's your fail point. So, make sure that you're digging into your stats, because if you do that, then that's going to just highlight like, okay, maybe the topics are fine. Maybe it's actual how my videos are performing, which could mean that I need to either work on writing better titles and thumbnails or coming up with better topics, or it could be that I need to learn how to make my videos in a way that people respond to better. Okay. So like those are the things that you need to look into, because if you've been doing the same thing for 3 years and you're not getting a response, then something's got to change, right? So something's got to change. So it could be that thing that you need to work on could be, the packaging from the outside. So you might need to try something completely different in terms of what it is that you're doing with your thumbnails, in terms of how it is that you're putting your titles together. When it comes to the video content, if you find that people aren't watching your videos for a long period of time, or they're not really engaging in what it is that you're doing, try something completely different. Still on topic, still for that same audience, but try doing it in a completely different way, just to see if you can figure out a way that people respond to. Because if you've been doing it for 3 years and you're still not getting that response that you're after, then you have to start experimenting like crazy until you do find something that the audience that you're trying to reach responds to. Let's see here. So how long does it take to get enough information for when your viewers are on YouTube to start showing data for a small channel? Is that based on a number of views or something? In terms of how long it takes, I really don't know the answer to that. Pretty much every channel I've ever looked at, it already has that information in there. So because of that, in terms of exactly how long it takes or how many views that you need for that information to show up, I'm not sure. Any advice for reading, understanding analytics? Okay, we talked about that one. Let's see. Hey, Nick, thank you for your live streams. What are the most important settings for YouTube Studio? I'm almost ready to start uploading. How's Popcorn? Regards, Mark. Popcorn's doing great. So basically for our charity thing that we did this morning, Popcorn went with us, and he was so well behaved. So basically, what we did is we went, Chris, so for those of you that watch my channel on a regular basis, I put out a video not too long ago with a guy here locally. His name's Chris. He has a YouTube channel called Retired Working for You. And one of the things that he does with his YouTube channel, he uses it for good, which is awesome, and I love that. But since he uses it for good, one of the things that he does here in Thailand is there's a lot of situations to where people will abandon their kids and they have to go to like these like housing facilities, right? And there's a lot of cases where people might have like an illness and they can't pay for it or whatever. And because of that, they lose their homes, things like that. And they just can't take care of their kids that way. So then because of that, they'll go to these places or just whatever the thing is. Like there's, just all of these things, like just around here, just like in most countries, so where just people need help. So one of the things that he does is he does a regular thing called Pay It Forward. And with Pay It Forward, basically what it is people will donate to it, and then, people will go and, like in my case, like I went so that I could, help deliver stuff because they needed more cars. But basically like part of his thing is basically like everybody contributes to this, and then they go and they buy a bunch of stuff and then they deliver it to like all of these people that need help in whatever capacity. So with the thing this morning, we went and picked up the stuff at this warehouse, and then we drove it to these schools. It was two for the ones that we delivered to, but they delivered, I think in total, like 2, 4, I think like 5 or 6 different places. But they got almost like $20,000 worth of stuff, and they were delivering it, to all these different places. But it was him and Matt from another YouTube channel here. Matt Diggity is his YouTube channel. But basically, they held that event here locally, where normally it's in Bangkok or on like one of the islands or something, but they held it locally. So we helped, and we took Popcorn with us, and basically, this was his first time being around like a decent amount of kids, and of course, everybody's masked, all that good stuff as well. But basically, like this was his first time being around like a bunch of kids, and basically with Popcorn. like when we were walking him, like, like, the kids were just like, swarming around popcorn, and, and he was extremely well behaved, didn't freak out. He just kind of like sat there and looked, and just kind of, like looked at everybody while they're all just kind of standing around looking at him, saying how cute he was, all of that. So he was extremely well behaved. So that was a fun thing. So yeah, so popcorn's doing awesome. Let's see here. All right. So we are now going to go into chill mode here for the stream today. And basically for chill mode, anybody that has joined as a channel member, just as a heads up, make sure that you go to nimminvip.com and that you fill out the information on the way in once that redirects you to the Facebook group, so I can go ahead and add you to that group like right here in just a minute. And for everybody that's been hanging out in the stream, I do want to let you know, if you are new to YouTube and you're new to some of this information, that you, like there's a lot of information that I throw out during these streams. So, pick a thing or two and just focus on that thing or two over the next week, so that you can just get a really good understanding of it. So for example, we talked in the stream about search engine optimization. So, looking into some of that information, can be beneficial to you. We talked about click-through rate. So looking into your click-through rate for your different videos and your different traffic sources, going into your analytics, because we talked a little bit about that today as well, and just starting to get familiar with some of the things, especially like your audience retention reports in there, so you can make sure that you're making good videos for the people that you're trying to reach. Just going in and finding where those things are is a great step forward in applying some of the information that you hear in these live streams. So, without taking action on the information, nothing's going to change. So you got to take action on the information and the things that you learn here during the live stream, so that you can, start getting, more of the results that you want here on YouTube. So thank you everybody for hanging out during the stream. Everybody have an awesome rest of your week. And we are going to go into chill mode now, which is basically where I'm going to, you can see here in the background, I've got that whole thing going. Now I'm going to pull up some music, and we are going to start playing some music here as well, as long as I don't get yelled at here for my music being too loud or too quiet. We'll see how it goes right here in a second. But yeah, I'm just gonna click on let's go here for this one. And yeah, everybody have a fantastic week. Thank you for hanging out. Cyber Monday, by the way, Cyber Monday, I'm doing a live stream on Monday as well for some Cyber Monday deals. So make sure that you stick around, or that you come swing by. That's going to be at 9 a.m. Eastern on Monday. So make sure that you come hang out for that. And everybody have a fantastic rest of your week. And I will see you next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern as well. Take care. I also want to say really quick, thank you to Albie-tastic, Magic Flying Potato, and Little Crafty Nook. You guys are the top chatters for today. Albie-tastic, 263 chats. Magic Flying Potato, Brad over there is 177. Little Crafty Nook, 120. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for that. but I can't get the stuff to feed through. No, I'm gonna go try it again. I'll be right back. Scratch that. I can't get it to work. I'll try it again. Try it again next week. Yeah, I'm still getting familiar with that loop back software, whatever it's called, to route the signals around. And I had it set up, and it was working great before. I had it working good for like 2 days, and I was in there messing with it today. And now I can't get the audio signal. Like I'm getting no audio out of my out of the computer over there. I got it through the machine, but no audio through the computer. Plus the looks like it's having problems with the internet too. I might just start the thing. Probably the solution. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. So everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. Hope that you have a fantastic rest of your week. Again, I will be streaming again on Monday, so hopefully you will come and hang out and join in on Monday. And besides that, have an awesome rest of your weekend. And I will see you guys next Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Stay safe, be kind, and remember to have a good time. Take care, everybody. Have an awesome rest of your weekend.